It's fine. Uh, stop. Mm. Okay. Looks about right.
Ooh. It's hard to clean a tutu.
We've all been there.
You can't just throw it in the washing machine.
Eddie Grundy is costume production supervisor for the Dutch National Ballet. Eddie, you've got a tip for us.
Tutu, obviously, you can't, like you said, you can't throw it in the washing machine. A lot of what we do during a run is at the end of the performance, we spray it with vodka, and that's basically to kill the bacteria. The alcohol kills the bacteria in the costume.
You use vodka.
Yeah, it's an old trick actually that comes from Russia, funnily enough. They used it in all their companies, and it's been taken over basically through theatres all over the world.
So all you do is you take a spray bottle to each tutu. How many squirts? Like 3 or 4?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. So you put the vodka into like a plant spray. Sometimes we mix it with a little bit of water. Depends how much they've been used. The soloist costumes at the end of a ballet, they're soaking wet, so you have to really drench them in the vodka, and it evaporates, so it kills the bacteria.
Have you ever used vodka on your own non-ballet clothes?
I've used it for suits. If I have premieres here at work, sometimes then I'll come back. Sometimes in the theatre it's hot, and you come back and you're getting changed, and then I'll put some in my suit before I hang it away. For sure, yeah.
Really? And there's no smell with vodka, right?
No, that's why one of the reasons we use it, because once the alcohol evaporates, and it doesn't leave a smell behind.
You can't really use gin for this.
No. I think a vodka is the one that doesn't have any scent really with it.
Yeah.
But we don't use the blueberry vodka or raspberry vodka.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
None of those.
Does anybody who uses this technique, does anybody do like one for me, one for the tutu?
We've had a lot recently. I mean, I've been working in nearly 20 years now, and when I first started, we had a couple of Russian girls that would say, "Oh, can I just have a shot before I go on?" So in the end, we had to tell them, but we mix it with a special chemical, so it's not drinkable. We have to guard the bottles of vodka. You never know otherwise.
This is How to Do Everything. I'm Mike.
And I'm Ian, and we are here for you. Whatever question you have, send it to us, and we will try to answer it. Whether you're a listener of Wait, Don't Tell Me, and you found us that way, or you accidentally clicked on this show intending to listen to something else.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Thanks for sticking with us, even, for these 4 minutes so far.
Might as well just keep going.
Send us your questions. We look at all our emails. That email address is howto@npr.org.
We literally have nothing else to do but look at your emails.
On today's show, how to tell if you smell.
But first,
when astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore arrived on the International Space Station back in June, they were only supposed to be there for 8 days.
But due to some problems you may have heard with their spaceship, they're going to be there much, much longer. Last week, NASA announced they won't be coming home until February 2025.
Frank Rubio holds the record for the longest time in space, 371 days. We're going to see if maybe he can help Sonny and Butch out.
They probably, for instance, weren't counting on needing a haircut up there. Frank, for starters, how do you get a haircut in space?
We plan for everything, right? And so for cutting your hair, we actually have a pair of electrical shears, and we connect that to a vacuum system. And basically the vacuum just suctions up the hair as you're cutting it. It's not a pretty haircut for sure, but it's functional. I say that my hair, my wife and I had this ongoing argument. I say I was starting to get some gray hair before I launched, and it all turned black again when I got there. I think that's because of the fluid shifts that happen and the increased blood flow to your scalp. That's my theory. I don't know if I'll ever be able to prove it.
That's amazing. I would think, you're wearing NASA gear up there the whole time. I imagine for 371 days, you want to do something to maybe spruce up the outfit, just for variety.
Well, we do get a variety of shirts, t-shirts, workout gear, and unfortunately, we haven't developed a laundry system in space yet. And so we have a periodic replacement system, basically, where you just fly new things, and as things kind of come to their wear-out date, you just replace it with another one.
What do you do with the dirty clothes?
Yeah, so eventually, along with all the other waste, we basically refill the resupply ships with all the trash and waste that's produced on station. And then once that undocks, it does not have a heat shield, and it'll burn up on re-entry.
Fantastic.
You incinerate your dirty laundry.
Well, yes.
Do you still do that today, Frank, now that you're back on Earth?
No, I have never incinerated laundry here on Earth.
Okay.
You, at 371 days, you must have spent a birthday in space.
Come on.
I imagine it's a huge hazard to blow out candles. What's a birthday party like in space?
Yeah, your crewmates do a fantastic job of doing things like celebrating your birthday. We basically put some yellow tape on top of a flashlight, and that becomes your candle.
Oh, wow.
And so turning it off is a lot easier than blowing it out. But it is really important to just be each other's family while you're there, and so we try to do that for each other throughout the year.
So we have a couple astronauts who are going to be in space longer than they want to be. They're not going to have laundry. They're going to miss haircuts.
Yeah.
What's one tip you would give them?
Well, they are trained astronauts and they are experienced astronauts, so they've been there and done that, right? And so from that perspective, it's nothing new to them. And they're doing, really the one tip I would give them, they're already doing, which is just stay as positive as possible and focus on the mission. Super proud of them, super proud of how they're handling the situation. And I can't wait to have them back home.
Well, you gotta get all heartfelt about it.
Maybe you're stuck in space. If so, send us a question. Send it to us at howto@npr.org, and maybe we can help you out.
If you're stuck in space and we're the best you've got, things are not looking good, but we are still going to try our best. Again, that email address where you can send us an email is howto@npr.org.
You care about what's happening. Let State of the World from NPR keep you informed. Each day we transport you to a different point on the globe and introduce you to the people living world events.
What is
We don't just tell you world news, we take you there. And you can make this journey while you're doing the dishes
Is
or
this like a
driving your
real
car.
advertisement?
State of the World podcast from NPR.
Oh my god.
Vital international stories
Gross.
every day. You care about what's happening in the world. Let
I do
State
not.
of the World from NPR keep you informed. Each day we
I'm so
transport
sorry.
you to a different point on the globe and introduce you to the
Why?
people living world events. We don't just tell you world news,
Okay.
we take you there. And you can make this journey while you're doing the dishes or driving your car. State of the World podcast from NPR. Vital international stories every day.
Hey, Marcy, what can we do for you?
Well, here's my question. I'd like to know, how do I get someone to tell me if I smell?
Sorry.
And, like, smell in a bad way.
So, okay. Do you think you smell?
I do, yeah. And I think no one has the heart to tell me.
Wow. What makes you think that you smell?
Well, I guess, like, I use natural deodorant. I figure that's
Okay.
right? And, no one's just going to tell you. And even if you ask them, they're not going to want to tell you. They don't want to be rude, and you're also uncomfortable for them.
Have you
So why did
had
she
the
use
experience
this?
of asking somebody if you smell?
Yes. Yes, I have, and they always say no, you don't.
Let me flip it on you. Have you ever told somebody that they smell?
Yeah, that's a good
My
question.
husband, yeah, and my children,
Okay. Anyone
But-
outside the family?
no.
Yeah.
Only you smell good. I was on an elevator once in a hotel, and I just said, somebody in this elevator car smells really good. Well, that guy actually, he liked it. He was like, yes, it's me, and I'm wearing this.
It's
And
me.
She announced what he was wearing.
Was the guy in the elevator who smelled good, was he wearing natural deodorant?
I don't. That's a good question. I don't know.
I can answer that.
Yeah, he probably was not.
All right, I think we have a way to help Marcy. We need an objective measure of whether or not she smells. And our producer, Hina, has got her hands on something called a nasal ranger.
A nasal ranger is an industrial caliber device. It looks like a megaphone, and you hold it up to your nose and point it at whatever smells, and it gives you a quantitative number representing how bad the smell is.
And this is not something normally used on people. City inspectors use nasal rangers when they get a complaint about smell pollution.
Yeah, this is the assumption we're making about Marcy, that she might be the kind of thing someone might call 311 about.
She might be producing a suspicious odor.
Mike and Hina are going to take this industrial disaster
no.
smelling tool and point it at Marcy, but first they're going to go to Mike's house to calibrate it.
We are at my house. We have a cat, and the cat is named Stinky. And that is a name that the cat earned.
I'm just gonna bend over into his litter box and sniff. So first I have to smell it without the nasal ranger. Bare nose. If I can get a reading bare nose, I can get a reading with the nasal ranger. I really feel like a city inspector. Okay, it's definitely a cat's litter box. 100% smells like a cat's litter box. Okay, I'm gonna stick this thing on my nose and I'm gonna give it a big whiff. I'm doing my first reading at 60.
And when Hina says 60, that is the highest possible
Okay,
setting
pause.
in nasal ranger. So
Took too long. Oh, you're not supposed to do that. That's fine. Took too long anyway. Yeah, that's the moral of the story. I'll show you. I'm pressing rewind right now. So if you don't press anything until you get to this screen with the green flash, then you open the thing. Then you can open the menu and do whatever. But since we didn't get the reset until 2:30, it doesn't matter. But now you know. But that will kill runs. Very bad.
first smell in the world is going to hit 60.
How it works, the nasal ranger has multiple filters in it and a dial that you shuffle through them. So when you're using it, you start with the highest setting, thickest setting, that's the 60. And if whatever you're smelling can make it through that, you give it a 60. If you don't smell anything, you dial it down to the next setting, the lighter filter, and see if you can smell it there. And you keep going lighter and lighter filters until you can smell the smell for the first time. And that's the rating of the thing you're trying to smell.
A person should be in the 2 to 7 range.
You know what? I'm gonna give this one 30.
Okay, so that's actually good for us to know before we smell Marcy, that a cat's litter box came in at 30 out of 60. Can we just real quick, can we just smell me real quick? Now we know what smelly is. Let's see how I do.
So the people at St. Croix Sensory who gave us this wonderful nasal ranger, they recommended that for smelling humans, I have to put a Dixie cup to your armpit in order to funnel your amazing odors into the nasal ranger.
Oh man.
I took a pair of scissors and I cut the bottom from the cup
Okay.
so that if I stick this on your armpit, it'll funnel the smell straight into the nasal ranger.
All right, let's go. Let's get in there.
I feel nervous, like.
It's not me I'm worried about. It's you. All right, here we go. Oh, I feel so bad.
Yeah, 9 and 7.
Oh, all right.
All right, reading you at 4. Oh, I kind of got a reading at 4. Let's try you at 2.
Okay.
All this deep breathing makes me feel like I'm in a yoga class.
Okay.
Hot armpit yoga.
Yeah, I would say between a 2 and 4.
All right. I won't even ask if I smelled good. I'll just say okay.
You smelled like a human being.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Can I jump in here? How did you learn to use the nasal ranger?
So I had to take a 2.5-hour training sent to me by the people who make the nasal ranger at St. Croix Sensory that all city inspectors take to get trained up.
This is like a mandatory. You are not authorized to use this tool unless you do a training.
You are not authorized to use it, and I actually got a certificate at the end
Oh,
of the
wow.
training that certifies me as a nasal ranger inspector.
A nasal
Did you frame
ranger.
it?
I didn't even print it out. It's just a PDF that's saved on my computer, and now I feel like I'm missing an opportunity to really celebrate my greatness.
Well, I think in order
That's
to
like
get
if
something
Teddy
better,
Roosevelt
you
had
have
a
to
Coke problem.
enlist the services of the certificate ranger. Hi there. Marcy? Hi, it's Mike and Hina.
I'm Kina.
Hi, Mike. Thanks for welcoming us into your home.
I am so glad to have you here, and
We asked Marcy to do just what she would do on a normal day. That means she was wearing her natural deodorant. And I just want to take a second to give Hina some credit. You made Marcy feel so comfortable, you took a second to make sure she knew what she was getting into. And she even at one point reached out and held your hands.
Yeah, and we held hands for quite a while.
Should we do like do you just want to smell Marcy kind of bare-nosed first?
Bare nose.
So, this is my first time meeting you.
let's hold hands.
And I just want to say that we have no boundaries here. I am just going to smell your armpits. And I am so okay with that. I'm glad to be here.
I immediately feel connected to you. You have the most welcoming eyes.
Thank you.
And I just feel like you're the kind of person that people would be on the street and be like, it's gonna be okay. Like, let's just get it all out there.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm
Ready
ready.
to give up in the world.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
Let's get into it.
Do you want me to-
Okay.
You just lift your armpits, and I'm just gonna take a whiff. Perfect. Oh yeah, now I got this
Hurry
one.
up.
Is that lavender deodorant? What is that?
Yeah, it used to be called Primal Pit Paste. Now it's
Yes.
called
Yes.
Frank's.
This is good. Hell yeah. Okay, don't screw it up. Okay. I lost count. Damn. Sheesh. That would have have been sub 4 minute. Wah. This is pretty easy compared to Earthbound. Rough. Okay, we'll do it again. We'll do it again, we'll do it better.
And it's very like there's nothing bad in it as far as I know.
Primal Pit Paste is
Yeah.
quite the name.
Primal Pit Paste sounds like it's like an industrial strength.
Oh.
It feels like Gorilla Glue.
Yeah.
30. Okay, now this is 30. This is, FYI, 30 was how smelly Mike's cat's litter box was. So,
It's cat's toilet smell.
I don't want to be there. Well, you're not, so
Okay,
thank
yay.
Moment of anticipation. It's like, you're
back.
pregnant. That's what it feels like. I'm about to tell you. Either whatever we find out, there's gonna be no judgment about it.
Okay, yeah.
It's just an
I'm back.
is.
I'm looking in your eyes. I'm back there.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
I'm so glad my eyes are doing this for you. That's great.
Okay, so now we're going to 15.
What is 15?
Pretty smelly for a human being.
Okay. Yeah.
This is such a suspenseful moment. Can we bring in a little suspenseful music as we get the verdict on Marcy here?
Okay, whatever.
Alright, so we are doing 15 right now.
I was just staring at my splits like, damn.
No, cancel you 15.
All right.
This is 7.
Can't really smell it. I think that's good though.
Hold on. You said you can't really
I
smell.
don't really smell her.
Does that mean that you got a little bit?
I will say I feel like I did get a little bit. Yeah, I think I got a whiff. Hey, Lavender. I think you're between a 7 and a 4.
So Marcy, after all this, between a 7 and a 4.
That's right.
That is basically a normal human
I
being.
think that's something Marcy.
Basically.
I think Marcy can go out into the world feeling better about her smell now. Even if she does smell, thanks to her Primal Pit Paste, it's a good smell.
If anyone ever complains, she can say, you know what? According to the Nasal Ranger, I'm between a 7 and a 4.
That's right.
I'm nothing like an industrial accident. Well, that does it for today's show. Mike, what did we learn today?
Well, I learned that astronauts' hair, if they have gray hair, it starts to go back to its original color when they're in space.
I feel like this could be an expensive cure
Yeah.
to gray hair. Also, I think maybe keep going with it, and if you stay in space long enough, you return a baby.
Oh, you think it's every part of your body regenerates?
I guess if you were a baby, you couldn't do the spacewalk. You would have to do space crawl.
Yeah, you space toddle. What'd you learn, Ian?
I learned that astronauts don't do laundry. They just burn up all of their dirty clothes.
It does raise the idea in my mind, though, that maybe sometimes when I see a shooting star, what I'm actually seeing is somebody just burning up their pants.
It's so beautiful.
Those are technically, son, those are shooting slacks.
How How to Do Everything is produced by Hina Shrivastava.
Special thanks this week to Lindsay McKenna, Emily Kinslow, Maddie Bauer, and everyone on NPR's project management team.
Our intern is Andrew Hillman.
Keep it up, Andrew. You're doing great.
Whatever it is you do, it was great. I'm Ian.
And I'm Mike. Thanks.
NPR brings you the updates you need on the day's biggest headlines.
The Senate narrowly passed the debt ceiling bill that will prevent the country from defaulting on its loans.
Stories from across the world.
Knowing how to forage and to live with the land is integral to Ami's culture.
And down your block.
From CPR News,
Wow.
This message comes from Greenland.
Oh,
Parents rank financial...
Mike, we want to speak directly to Bark Meow Ketchup. Bark Meow Ketchup, recently you left us a review on Apple Podcasts, and we would like to thank you for this kind review.
But, Bark Meow Ketchup, you say, and I quote, "You lost a star for me for not having access to older episodes in Apple Podcasts anymore." And, Bark Meow Ketchup, we don't know why they're gone either.
Yeah, it's a mystery to us as well, Bark Meow Ketchup. It might be because we no longer have the license for the music in them.
We never did.
It might be because in almost all of those episodes, we made fun of NPR One, and NPR didn't like that, so we don't know. The good news is we are reissuing old episodes here with new music every other week, and here's today's.
One small thing, you're going to hear the voices and names of our former producers, Nadia Wilson and Candice Mattel-Khan. Don't be confused, but that's who that is. It's Nadia and Candice, our old producers.
I don't think you would be confused, but we're telling you that. So don't run screaming from the podcast when you hear the voice of someone named Nadia or Candice.
But I thought it was Mike and Ian.
Noam Sobel is a neurobiologist at the Weizmann Institute of Science in Israel, and a few years back he wanted to research what tears were good for. Do they have a purpose?
For example, did they have a chemical signal in them? It's a difficult thing to study for a few reasons.
I should point out here that our initial study, at least, suffered from a really unfortunate gender bias. And this happened because, we started off by publishing, just putting up posters in our campus and in a neighboring campus saying that we need volunteers who can cry with ease because we needed to obtain tears for our research. And this led to, about 70 women volunteers and one man, basically, right?
Wow.
And this, it's just a cultural thing, and men don't very readily admit to crying, and, typically will not come to a lab and cry for an experiment, and women will. And so we ended up with, with women tears, and that's what we were working with for a long time.
What? Huh? No reset. Never mind.
When you made the call for volunteers and you had just the one male respond, did you do anything with that guy, or did you just let him go?
Yeah, he failed. He couldn't cry.
He couldn't?
Not in the way we need, right? So he couldn't generate tears for us in any quantity.
So they kept this bias in mind, and they got the tears they could from their volunteers. And they found something pretty interesting.
To our surprise, we found that exposure to these odorless tears, so just merely sniffing them, rather radically reduced levels of testosterone. So if you sniff this thing, within about half an hour, you'll have about a 20% reduction in testosterone, which is kind of dramatic.
Do you have an interpretation of what the advantage of that is, that female tears would lower testosterone.
Yeah, and here I want to pull away even from necessarily female tears. What I think is being signaled is related to aggression. And what I think the signal that tears are carrying is a sort of stop aggression signal. And this is consistent with what, in fact, has since been discovered in rodents. So if you expose adult male mice to juvenile mouse tears, they reduce their sexual aggression towards the juvenile mice.
Can I just say, I had no idea that rodents cried, that mice cried?
Well, so yeah, there are other examples. The blind mole rat, for example. So the blind mole rat will cover itself in its own tears, and this will protect it from aggressive behavior towards it by conspecifics. So in a way, if I can use sort of, the way I like to think about this, tears serve as sort of like a chemical blanket protecting the animal against aggression.
So you're doing this research where you're required to get tears from people.
Yeah. From donors, yeah.
How do you make them cry?
Typically what we do is we ask these volunteers, okay, do you have any sort of film segment that that makes you cry? And typically people who are really good criers, they'll have that, right? They'll tell you, oh yeah, sure, there's this scene in, so-and-so where I always cry like crazy, right? And so we're the neurobiology lab with probably the largest collection of sad films in the world. And the volunteers watch these films in isolation and hopefully cry and then collect their tears. And so that's basically how it works. But now we're shifting to toddler tears, and there we're using a whole different approach.
What's the approach?
Well, so we've entered into a collaboration with this national system where basically we approach mothers in the waiting room and offer them to participate in return for a toy for their child. And basically we just go into the room with them when they go to be vaccinated, and if they cry, assuming they cry, we wipe their cheek simplistically with a special sort of cloth that goes into a special sort of device and goes right into liquid nitrogen. And with this, we're building a tear bank.
Based on your research, is there one scene that is particularly cry-worthy?
Yeah, the scene in the movie Champed, where...
So this is a bit of a spoiler alert here, but this is for a movie that was made in 1979.
I feel like we can go forward comfortably.
The scene in the movie Champed, where Champ dies in the hands of his 4-year-old son who's crying, is very effective. It's used by many labs who study emotion, by the way, not only by us.
Really?
Yeah, I think that movie gets more views in labs than in theaters.
Okay, none of us here have seen The Champ.
Oh,
but
no.
I feel like we should give this a try.
In order to do that, we're going to also bring in our official taste tester, Peter Sagal. He's going to join us as we watch this scene from The Champ.
And Nadia's going to join us too. So this is the end of the movie. John Voight plays this boxer who's made this comeback. He's about to die.
He's a single dad. He fights to earn money for his kid. He's just won a fight, and now he looks terrible.
Yeah, and here it goes.
Oh no.
Oh, that's little Ricky Schroeder. Is that John Voight?
Yeah, he looks terrible.
Well, he has just been beaten up. Presumably a young John Voight would look something like Angelina Jolie, right?
And you can see it. Did you see that?
Yeah, a little bit.
Wake him up! Wake him! Please wake him up!
Ah, jeez. Jeez. Give him an iPad or something to distract him.
I think that's
Is that the end of the movie? That's how it ends.
That's the end of the movie. That was basically roll credits at this point.
Okay, so did anybody cry?
I noticed.
I did.
Yeah, Dan
Sure,
was
I did.
wiping something away from his face.
Yeah, your eyes were red.
Oh yeah.
So did you get close to crying?
No.
Nadia?
I think I got a little misty
Uh-huh.
after he had been saying champ for maybe a minute and a half.
It does
maybe.
go on
It really does.
It just was.
And
it felt like it was beating me down.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah, I would have had an emotional reaction had I seen the whole movie if I'd known who these people were. Because that's just generic child sad over death of.
I can't handle that though.
Yeah, I know.
Child in peril. It's too much.
See, actually, here's the thing, and this might be relevant. How old are your kids?
I don't think I can answer that.
Right now, you don't
start
know.
crying.
Oh, you see that? Is that right? Mike's children are younger than your oldest is 12 now.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God.
Yeah, look at him. Look at him go. And when you're, I'm going to speak sort of clinically about Mike as he weeps. I know this from experience. When your children are young, you cannot tolerate. It's like you cannot tolerate any depictions of children in peril or children in pain. It cannot be done. It cannot be done.
Yeah.
I have never seen you like this.
That's not true.
Seeing Mike upset is making me more upset than the movie.
I didn't know he had a heart.
Too much.
I've seen it
Too
once,
much.
but I've never seen it quite like this.
Because this is at work.
Wow.
Oh, it's terrible.
You have a tear. You actually have a tear.
He does.
That's not how this works.
Well,
I guess it works.
Since there's 4 of us here, only one of us wept. Can we say it has a success rate of 25%?
I think that.
Yeah, sure.
We went from pop culture happy hour to storycore. We usually talk about who was in the movie, and then one of us cried.
I cried every time during pop culture happy hour.
Yeah, it's very affecting.
Hey, Filene. That was attempt number 10, so I got 10 more to go.
This message comes from Schwab. At Schwab, how you invest is your choice, not theirs. That's why when it comes to managing your wealth, Schwab gives you more choices. You can invest low costs and transparent advice. You can manage your wealth your way at Schwab. Visit schwab.com to learn more.
This message comes from Nidhi Health.
Stop.
If you're a woman over 40
Sorry.
dealing with hot
I'm trying to skip these ads.
And sometimes I want to save them for when I get home. But how do you keep your French fries crispy and fresh and warm without eating them immediately in the car?
This, I believe, is one of the great struggles of modern life.
Yes. They get soggy or cold and
okay.
hard, and you can't eat them anymore.
This is my favorite NPR show, and it was canceled 6 years ago or something, and I literally just found out that they went back into production in September. I found that out 10 minutes before I started this stream. I'm so excited. So if you see me just laughing like a complete goofball, it's because I love this show. I miss it so much. I'm so happy that they started again. But yeah, in case you missed it, the question is how to keep your French fries warm and crispy without having to eat them immediately.
Think of a food that has a greater chasm between its fresh form and its later form.
Right, and it only takes me 5 minutes sometimes to get home, but they're always ruined.
Wow.
What kind of fries do you get?
I get the Chick-fil-A waffle fries.
Oh.
Okay, and waffle fries, I feel like those are especially bad after a certain, that once that window closes, it feels like there's just no going back with those fries.
It's true.
All right, Latoya, we're going to look into this. It's a serious problem.
It is. I think a lot of people could benefit from this answer.
I feel like if we solve this, our work as a show is done.
Yeah, for real.
That is the everything that 4 years ago we set out to figure out.
Just lights out, production down, curtains closed. Okay.
Okay, Latoya, I think we have somebody who can help you. On the line with us now is Dan Souza from America's Test Kitchen.
So Dan, everybody has faced this problem. Is there a way to solve it?
All right, so I think it's a really interesting question because normally I'm a
as soon as I get the French fries in the car from the drive-thru, like I'm eating them. So I don't usually run into that problem, but I have a couple ideas. One is a way to maintain proper texture during the drive home, and the other is once you get home, if you haven't done that, how to fix it. So on the ride home, what your biggest enemies with French fries is that they cool down, and all the starch in there kind of traps the water, and they end up being not creamy, and they're not crispy really at that point. And the second enemy is moisture. So if you wrap them up really tight to keep them warm, you trap all that steam, and that's going to sog out your crust.
Yeah.
So in the car, the solution, so if you've got that nice, cardboard sleeve from McDonald's or whatever, what I would do is I'd punch some holes in the bottom of the container.
Okay.
Like maybe five or six holes in the bottom of the container, and then I would hold the open part to the vent, the car vent, and just turn the heat up as high as possible, the fan as high as possible, and I would just hold it there during the entire ride home. So what you're doing there is you're blasting them with hot air, which is going to keep the moisture at bay. It's going to wick that away, and it's also going to keep them hot so they won't cool down. So I haven't tested this out, but I'm pretty confident that would keep them in kind of ideal shape if you have a long ride home.
That sounds promising. I also like the idea that it would, I think that's the best way to spread the delicious smell of French fries throughout the vehicle.
Yeah, exactly. I originally got the idea as just an air freshener move, but the added benefit of the fries being really good too. So that's my best bet. If you live in Miami and you're doing this in the summer, you have to really love French fries to want to do it. But in Chicago in the winter, that's gonna be a nice thing anyway. So that's my solution for en route. If you get home and you haven't done that, and they're cold, or you forgot about them, it's actually really pretty simple to get them back to their former glory. You don't have to heat up your oven. You don't have to get a ton of oil going. For a large McDonald's French fries, about 6 ounces of fries. So if you have a 12-inch nonstick skillet, slick it with about a tablespoon of oil and bring it up until it's really hot, like almost smoking. Throw all the fries in a single layer and cook them for about 2 to 3 minutes, just kind of tossing it every now and then onto paper towel, blot some of that oil, season with salt again if you want, and then you're eating. So like 5 minutes or so, then you can be back to French fry glory at that point.
And you've tried this method?
Yes, this is a test kitchen approved method, believe it or not.
Oh,
wow, okay.
Yeah, that was some testing that actually went on here. We finally solved the big French fry reheating issue.
So Dan, LaToya, I think, prefers waffle fries.
Oh boy.
How does that change things?
Waffle fries, man, I haven't had waffle fries in a long time, and I never get them out, I don't think. So I think in the car, same solution, I think you should be fine, and I actually think in the skillet, it's probably going to be even easier because you're going to have less waffle fries for the same kind of weight or the same package size. So even just like flipping those one by one probably wouldn't be a big deal. They may not toss as well in the skillet as like shoestrings, but yeah, I would say you'd still be able to use that method, though I don't think we tested with waffle fries. That's kind of out there. That's a wild card right there, is the waffle fries.
Well, Dan, thanks so much for helping out LaToya.
So the moral of the story is
I'm
stay
happy
away
to
from
help her out. I
Chick-fil-A.
hope it works well for her.
You can check out Dan's new website, cooksscience.com. That's Cooks, COOKS Science.com.
All right, I think we should test out this method with the heater. So we're going to get some McDonald's French fries and go to Mike's car. You'll know we're there when we start speaking in hushed tones.
Okay, here we go. I'm turning into the rock and roll McDonald's. Oh, wait, no, wait. Wait, that's the parking? How does that make sense?
This segment's really about the French fries, not about how the parking lot is designed.
All right, so
I think you should get 2 large fries so that we can have a control fry and a test fry.
2 large fries. Anyway, do you want anything else? Jalapeno McChicken?
Do you want to hear a joke?
Yes.
Why did the jalapeno put on?
I'd be so sad if they went to Chick-fil-A.
Because it was a little chilly.
Okay, but I do feel like we're here. You might as well get something.
Yeah, you don't see a lot of McDonald's, so it's kind of a rare chance to try their food.
Do you want to try a pumpkin spice latte?
No.
Me neither.
The line here at the drive-thru has made this segment already longer than I was expecting.
It's unfortunate. Hi, can I get 2 large French fries? What size Coke? And a small Diet Coke.
Okay. Would that be all?
Yeah, that's it.
With the one, please. Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks a lot. Okay.
All right, thanks. So the thing to do, we're going to poke the holes as instructed and then turn on the heater. Okay, we're a few minutes in now. I am suffering.
This is terrible. It's really hot in here. Plus, I think we're in the wrong lane. Okay. Oh my god, that is so hot. Here, you have heated seats. I'm gonna go ahead and turn them on too. It's feel though, so you can see I have, as instructed, I have the container right up against the vent. Uh-huh.
You can feel the holes in the bottom. See if you feel the heat coming through.
Yeah, it's very hot. Definitely, it's very hot there. Oh yeah.
Oh, look
Nice.
at me. Look at my face. I'm dripping sweat.
Yeah. Oh, what happened?
So there are 2 questions I realized that we're going to
Nice.
answer. 1, does this work? 2, if it works, is it worth the human cost?
I don't think it is. I mean,
Please,
if you're
please,
really
please,
hungry,
please,
then
please.
yes, it is. It is worth it. But I
Aw.
just think, oh, this is. Look at this. I am now rubbing my eyes because I am covered in sweat. I'm not crying. I'm just sweaty.
We've had sweat and tears so far in this episode.
Yeah. I guess we need to cut somebody. We need blood. We just go get Peter.
Well, the next segment is somebody asked, how do I stab?
Okay.
Mike just went right through a crosswalk just to get us out of this car sooner. I think no jury would convict us.
I think that's the thing to remember. Like, whenever you're frustrated by the driver in front of you doing something erratic, it could be that they're just trying to keep their fries fresh and that they're boiling inside their car, that it's 100 degrees
Oh.
and they have one hand holding hot French fries up to an air vent.
Okay, so Candace and Nadia should be here somewhere.
It's called How to Do Everything.
There they are. So let's do this. The freshest possible French fries.
Okay, it's so hot in here. Here, hold the mic.
Oh my god, it's so hot.
Okay, so these are the treated ones.
Okay.
Go.
Oh, they're really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they taste like they should. They taste like fresh out of the McDonald's fryer. Yeah.
Okay, now here are the ones that were just sitting in the bag.
Oh, I can already feel the soggy. They're soggier.
Yeah?
Yeah, they actually are.
Oh, I'm so glad, because this has been a nightmare being in this car.
They're also they're still really good.
Yeah?
But they're soggier and a little more, like, if it's possible, also cardboardier.
They're a little, they feel.
They don't taste as
harder, and not as. I'm going to go for crispy and fresh.
Yeah, I much prefer the treated ones.
Yeah.
The treated
Truly.
ones have kept their grease as well.
Yeah.
You can taste the grease.
The ones using the method are definitely crispier than the ones that were just left in the
okay.
bag. So I think Latoya has got to try this. I don't think it's going to make for safe driving,
Cool.
though.
No, you need a partner and a high tolerance for pain.
I think if you have like cold, like some kind of clothing that will keep you cool, like an ice pack. Exactly. If you have an ice pack you can sit on, that will make this bearable. But yeah, those fries, it works.
That would have been so good.
Well, that does it for this week's show. What'd you learn, Ian?
I learned that we are not alone in crying, that actually mice and other animals cry too.
Yeah. Do you think Mickey Mouse cries?
I'm sure. Yeah.
Do you think so? What we see is just the positive, just the fun stuff, the adventure.
That's like Mickey's Facebook page. It's just the good stuff.
Yeah.
There's a world of pain there that he goes through. Things are not good with Minnie.
Oh, Well, that's I'm wondering if there's a little bit of overcompensation. If every, it's like, I just want to say, 10 years ago I made the greatest decision ever when I married my best friend. You're like, okay, that's, if you're overselling it, maybe.
Yeah. Your friends are what? You have a dog, a duck.
Yeah.
You don't know anybody who's like you. You're all alone. There's nobody that can understand you.
He's a germaphobe.
Yeah.
He's got gloves on.
Yeah.
I don't drink, I just do fist bumps.
How to Do Everything is produced by Nadia Wilson and Candace Mattel.
Hey, Candace. Our intern this week is Tyler. Tyler came in and he diagnosed all our diseased plants. Turns out we're not very good at plants. Sorry about that, Tyler.
Get us your questions at howto@npr.org.
You can visit our website, howtodoeverything.org.
I'm Ian.
And I'm Mike.
Thanks.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Satva.
Oh, no.
Founder and CEO Ron Rudson shares the story of how he got started creating Satva.
No.
2007, 2008.
I'm sorry. I'm not doing that. Gonna have to have some thoughts or something for a second here, because yeah, so this is the thing. Really easy in Mother too. This one's taking forever. I'm like tempted to try to do a bunch of generic like glitches. Because it's possible, sometimes to have the tent glitch will save. So when you load your save file, you'll wind up right inside of the tent, and that saves like 10 or 12 seconds. Oh, cool. I wonder if this one... I don't think my inputs are gonna do anything. Yeah, I can't skip out, but it's funny that it reset. That didn't work. Here, I'll show you what I mean real quick. Let's see. I have another copy of the game saved, so the save files on this one are different. In this one, when you load it, you're just in the tent right away. Because on a previous tent glitch, it thought I was calling Dad. And so it saved the game right there. And that's like, that would be cool. But I don't know how to make it do that on purpose. Oh my god. Oh. I said 20 attempts, but I don't want to. So, that last glitch I did where it did the reset that I thought was like cute and funny, when it reset, it deleted all my files. Ooh. That's dumb. Okay, well, I did get a PB on attempt 85, so it's not a total loss, but oh, that's annoying. We got 14 and 1. Number 4. Let's look at number 3. Sorry if I'm just mumbling nonsense. Oh, I can figure out put the next episode of the show back on. That one's no good. Also no good. Okay. Because of course. What am I looking for? Mother 2. Oh, geez. Okay, I still have like 15 more different save files that I can look at. Nothing there. Sorry, this has got to be thrilling. Champ.
This message comes from Mattress Firm. Red Midnight.
It is film festival season, and all reports say that standing ovations are out of control.
The Room Next Door, filmed by Pedro Almodovar, got 18 minutes at Venice last week. How do you handle that if you're the one everybody's clapping for?
Tom Hanks, you've experienced this, right? I think you got a 12-minute standing ovation for Elvis.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Well, that was it. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me tell you a story. Okay,
Please.
One little jaded show business story. Okay. The first time I went to Cannes was many years ago. I was with a film by the Coen brothers called The Lady Killers.
Okay.
Joel and Ethan are highly revered filmmakers in France.
Sure.
It was a marvelous movie. Had a great time doing it, and it did absolutely no business in the United States of America. I mean, you're talking literally, all but none. And that happens sometimes. Okay, that's fair enough. But that was the first movie I ever went to Cannes with Cannes. Now, because it was the Coen brothers,
oh no,
I'm going to say we got probably an 11-minute standing ovation after the end of the screening.
Wow.
In the Grand Palais, and it was a whole bit, man. The limousines and the red carpet and the screaming fans and the photographers and the swooping television coverage as you're walking up the grand staircase, the tuxedos, the whole bit. And the movie played marvelously well and received a lengthy. I'm gonna give me 11 minutes.
Yeah.
It was
Got it,
it was
got
about that long of a standing ovation.
Yeah.
To a movie that did absolutely no business in the audience. The second time I went to Cannes was with the Da Vinci Code.
Okay.
We went there. We promoted the movie by getting on a special train in London, and we came through the tunnel. We blew across France doing press all the way. We arrived. It was the big deal, and had the same thing: limousines, red carpet, screaming fans. That not only did not get a standing ovation, but by the time the movie had finished playing, I'm going to say 2/3 of the audience had left. And so, as the score was playing over the closing credits, you actually heard the sound of the seats folding up as the last few people. And that movie went on worldwide to make about $1 billion. Okay,
Yeah.
so there you have yin and yang of what a standing ovation can be.
So you're there. The movie's ended. Whether or not it's Elvis or the Lady Killers, what do you do for 11 minutes?
You stand there.
I'm gonna pause it real quick. I was looking for like saves where I'm at level 10, and yeah, they're all either level 1 or level 14. So I'm just gonna do basically like a no reset practice run of Boogie, and make a save file from scratch. So I'll fix my attempt counter. I'm just not gonna time it. But yeah, I'm gonna take a real quick break. I guess I can change my stream setup here. Yeah, so I'll put the show back on. Wait, no, I can't. I actually have to like take a full break, but just for a minute. I'll be right back. Okay. Boop.
There's nothing else to do.
But I guess like everybody's looking at you. They want to see how you're reacting. Do you have to think about, like, do you go through all the faces you have? What's going through your mind?
Well, I've only got two faces. You know, one's the honest one and one's the liar. So you go back and forth between those two. You know what you do? You nod your head a lot. You look around. You turn around and look at the. You wave and nod your heads. Thank you to the balconies that are above you. And by the way, they're not moving either. They're all standing there looking down at you.
Is there a point where you start wanting it to end when it's going on that long, or is it just like I love it?
No, it's honestly 3 minutes. Thank you. let's keep going. Look, I mean, it's nice.
Sure.
You know, the attention is great, but after a while, that much attention is. Look, I got to tell you, it comes at the end of an exhausting experience.
Yeah.
It takes an hour and a half just to get from the limousine, the car, up to the stairs, and then it takes about another 45 minutes to get from the stairs to your seat, and then it takes another 20 minutes for the movie to begin there. So it's you've been on your feet getting ready for this thing for the better part of 6 hours.
Would you ever consider wearing sensible shoes, knowing you're going to be on your feet for 11 minutes? Maybe compression socks?
Oh, I have. Oh, believe me, yeah. There's a whole sensibility that goes along with that. I know there's some women who make sure they wear long enough flowing gowns so that they do not have to have crippling shoes on their feet. Oh. So they can have something. They can have something sensible underneath. Yeah.
You know what we should do is we should make this episode exactly the same length as the longest standing ovation there is, so that just so all of us can experience what that span of time is.
So we can imagine standing up and clapping for the entire length of this podcast.
Yeah, so looking it up here, Pan's Labyrinth holds the record. They got 22 minutes at Cannes.
22 minutes.
All right, we're at minute 5 right now of this podcast. It's going to be a great 17 remaining minutes. This is How to Do Everything. I'm Ian.
Really?
And I'm Mike. On today's show, how to tell chimpanzees apart. But first,
Phil, what can we help you with?
I can't.
Yeah, the other day I was driving down the interstate and I saw a sign for a world-famous, JB's world-famous foot-long hot dog in Statesville, North Carolina. And I've been to JB's probably 30 years ago. I don't remember at that time whether they achieved world fame or not, but they were good hot dogs. But it just got me wondering, how do you become world famous, and how do you validate that claim to fame?
I wonder if the way to do it would be to find the city that is, or the town that is the furthest from the town where the establishment is, on the opposite side of the earth.
Yeah.
Find the closest place with any people to that point, call them up and ask, have you heard of this place?
For real?
Have you heard of these hot dogs? And if they say yes, I feel like you can legitimately say you are world famous.
I think you're onto something.
What is the name of the town that this place is in?
The one is Statesville, North Carolina.
Okay. Statesville, North Carolina. Okay.
All right, Phil, we're going to dig into this and we'll get back to you.
Thank you both, and again, welcome back. So glad to have you on the air.
Hey there, can you first identify yourself for us?
Sure, I can. My name's David Gonsalves. You can call me David. I'm one of the elected councillors at the City of Perth.
What time is it, David?
You don't want to know. It's it's about 3 a.m.
3 a.m. Oh my gosh.
You caught me at a very interesting time because I'll actually be attending a conference in the US, and I was literally preparing for that.
Well, it's either that or you're a vampire. So I feel like this is, of the two, this is better for us.
Yeah.
So the reason we're calling, we spoke to a business here in the United States. They are located, they're the antipode of Perth, Australia. They are on the opposite side of the earth of Perth, and they claim to be world famous. So we figure if that is true, you, as a representative of the city of Perth, would have heard of them.
Hopefully, yeah.
Okay. Have you heard of JB's Hot Dogs in Statesville, North Carolina?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, shoot. Have you heard of Statesville, North Carolina? Have you heard of North Carolina?
I've heard of North Carolina.
Okay.
I didn't realize it was the exact opposite end.
There's a little bit of wiggle room. You are the closest city with 100,000 people or more to the antipode of Statesville.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
David, do you like hot dogs?
I guess so. In New York or somewhere.
Sure.
Where you can kind of get the craving for that. Otherwise, probably not.
Can I ask, this is a question. There's a lot of Australian slang for things that is fantastic. What do you call hot dogs in Australia?
Actually, there is. There's you'd get your sausage roll.
A sausage roll.
You get your sausage roll when you go to vote. So on election day, it's a bit of a tradition here in Australia to get your sausage roll on when you go to vote.
Really?
And that's usually part of the community tradition outside polling booths.
Oh, did I?
Okay.
And what's voter turnout
Do that
like?
on the
'Cause
worst
it feels
turn
like that would help.
It does help, but it also helps that voting in Australia is compulsory.
Yeah, no, you don't.
What's better than having a hot dog in your hand and then going
don't
to
control BuzzBuzz at
determine
all.
the future of your country?
Why don't people run in
I
this
feel
speed
like
run?
I am always skeptical when I see world famous. We should just, I think, why don't we just find a bunch of places that claim to be world famous and see if they actually have a legitimate reason.
Yeah.
Thank you for calling Spreadsheet. Our business hours are 9:30 to 4:30, 7 days a week.
Hello. Welcome to the world-famous Clown Motel, Tonopah, Nevada, USA.
Thank you for calling World Famous. This is Taylor. How can I help you?
Can you tell me when you guys became world famous?
So we've been world famous for over 50 years, but I think it's been like around 30 years that we were in this location.
Hey, what happened that made you world famous?
I'm not sure.
World famous monkey, how can I help you?
Can you tell me how you became world famous?
Real quick, that sounds like a question that you should send in to this show. Like, 100% earnestly, I mean that.
I don't know.
But I have no idea.
World famous lunch.
Can I ask you, at what point did you become world famous?
Well, shortly after World War II, a local was stationed over in Russia, and he missed his Detroit hot dogs.
Okay.
So what he did is they got together and they packaged a bunch of hot dogs up in dry ice and they sent it overseas to her. So we became from famous lunch to world famous lunch.
Wow.
Thanks for calling the barbershop. This is Josh.
Hey Josh, can you tell me when you guys became world famous?
I think it was in 1964 he was born, and John became one of the most famous barbers out the womb.
What happened that made him so famous?
So I believe it started around the first time he discovered he can rip a phone book in half. So he was the first one to rip a phone book in half. And then he was an arm wrestler, and he would challenge all the clients to arm wrestle. And he became real famous like that.
Wow, is he still around?
Yeah.
And is he still cutting hair? Does he cut your hair?
Oh yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Have you ever arm wrestled Barber John?
No. Not at all. But you're welcome to try.
Mike, I have to say, at this point, I personally am surprised how many of these places actually have a legitimate claim to world fame.
Yeah, I went into this believing that none of these places, or no one, is actually world famous. And I think my takeaway so far is that I need to be more trusting and that people are good. People are honest.
The problem is with us.
We're too cynical.
And maybe if we believed in world fame, maybe the world could heal.
All right, I think it's time. Let's do this. Let's call JB's in Statesville and see if they truly are world famous.
I can't tell you how much I need this.
Thank you for calling, JB.
Hey, can I ask you a quick question about your store?
Yeah.
Can you tell me how you guys became world famous?
Well, I've been here 42 years, and I've just had people from all over the world come in here to eat. I'm not saying every country,
Yeah.
but a lot of people.
What is it about your hot dogs that brings people from all over the world?
Well, what it is we use hot dogs especially made for us. They have no filler. They have no internal organs in them whatsoever. They're whole meat.
Oh, wow.
I imagine people from around, hot dogs they're such an American thing. I imagine a lot of people that are visiting your place from other countries, it might be the first and only hot dog they've ever had.
Could be. Oh, I'm just happy to be where I am, bud.
All right, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
All right, I think let's see where we're at in this standing ovation clock.
So we're now 14 minutes into this standing ovation. Imagine you've been standing and clapping since you first heard Tom Hanks.
Or maybe you misunderstood what we were doing here, and you have actually been standing and clapping while listening to this podcast the entire time. In which case, thank you first, but also we're sorry.
And please sit down, but keep clapping.
This message comes from Charles Schwab.
No,
when
no,
it
it
comes
doesn't.
to managing your
Okay, we ate the bread roll. So we're gonna heal. Ouch. Stop. Stop. Rude. 21. I can heal on turn 3. Nice. Ouch. Don't do that. The counterpoint in that song is so good. Okay. I'm gonna skip this.
Schwab?
One can invest in the world's ENER Longship with
So, Ian, you and I are both humans. We're human beings.
Oh, thank you.
And we recognize each other by our faces. Dr. Mariska Kret has been researching how chimpanzees recognize each other. Dr. Kret, can you tell us about that?
Yeah, sure. So in our experiment, we found that chimpanzees are really good at recognizing each other from their behinds.
From their butts.
From their butts, yeah. They have a very fast butt recognition system. Yeah, so we humans, we are very good at recognizing each other by the face. We recognize each other instantly. And chimpanzees also have that when they are looking at other chimpanzees' butts. Sorry, I can't say the word butt anymore.
Okay, and humans do not have this ability. Humans, to your knowledge, cannot recognize each other by their butts.
No. They don't have that very fast recognition system.
So I imagine for your research, you would have had to test your human subjects to see if they had the butt recognition ability or not.
Yes, actually we tested chimpanzees and human participants. So we presented them different pictures of faces and behinds and some control images to have to indicate which one matched the one that they saw before.
But you did this with butts too, right?
Yes, exactly, yeah.
So for the humans, how many butts would a human subject look at for you to be able to determine what you needed to know?
Oh, they saw a lot of butts. Not that many different ones, actually, because I also had to collect those photographs, right? So.
Oh, sure.
Wait, these images with the butts, was it stock photos or was it other people? You know, were you taking pictures of butts?
You really want to know?
I do.
Oh, okay. So, of course, I needed to have at least 3, right? Because in a match sample task, you have one butt of person A and then another picture of the same butt, person A and a person B.
Oh, okay.
So I had to have 3 butts. So I asked 2 of my best friends.
Wow.
Okay. And the remaining butt was you?
And the remaining butt, yes. Nobody ever asked this question, so you can ask yourself who's crazier.
What did you tell your friends they were giving those pictures up for? Did they know?
Yeah, of course they know.
Okay.
Yeah, for the science. For the science. Everything for the science, right?
Yeah. Well, Dr. Krett, this has been fascinating. Thank you so much, and thank you for all you've done, and we do mean all you've done for science.
Yes, thank you.
Well, that does it for this week's show. What'd you learn, Ian?
I do wonder. I think there are people who are good recognizing faces.
Yeah.
And there are people who are not.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if the same is true with chimpanzees. Are there chimpanzees who find themselves? I'm so sorry. I'm really bad with butts.
Oh yeah.
Have we met before?
I have to confess, I'm a little butt blind.
What did you learn today, Mike?
Well, I learned that a lot of the places that say they're world famous actually are world famous.
Yeah.
The thing that I would worry about, though, is a place that's infamous.
I don't want to eat an infamous hot dog.
No hot dog should have a reputation for infamy. It's certainly not international infamy.
How did you become infamous? Well, I don't want to say a lot, but it was before the Heimlich maneuver was invented.
How to Do Everything is produced by Hina Srivastava. Technical direction by Lorna White.
Our intern is Sadie Fuente. Sadie, thank you for all that you did this week.
We wish you the best of luck and the best of gum health in your family.
You know what? We still got a few more minutes in this standing ovation.
Wait, where are we at? 20 minutes?
Hanks, are you still here?
Mm-hmm. Man, this is like back during the Soviet Union when you weren't allowed to stop clapping, for whoever was running the country, else you'd be sent to a gulag.
Yeah, it wasn't safe.
Gotta keep clapping, keep smiling, everybody. Keep waving, smile, wave and smile.
Tom, if you're in this situation, at what point do you turn and clap for the audience to acknowledge their effort here?
Oh, that's a good move, yeah.
Oh, by minute 19, you've done that 3 or 4 times.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we've pretty much done it. We together, Tom, Mike, we have endured 22 minutes of this episode. Tom, you've been through this before, but if I may, I'm gonna do it right now. We're up here.
Oh, look at that! Oh, he's standing. Oh, wow! I'm getting sick. Thank you. Hey, you guys are great. I'm applauding you.
Wait, don't you need to stand up at some point because you want to acknowledge us?
Oh yeah, yeah, because you do have to stand. So all right, I'm standing too. Yeah. Man, what a podcast! What a podcast! Man, oh man, these guys. I've seen good podcasts, but these 2 guys. Yeah. Del Toro would not have as good a podcast as my good friends Mike and Ian.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Tom. What an honor.
You're welcome, guys. All right, good luck with it all.
Support for NPR and the following message come from Rosetta Stone, the perfect app to achieve your limited access to 25...
No, that's fine. Oh... Let's see. Tom Hanks, hot dogs and chimp butts. So what's going on here?
Courses. Learn more at rosettastone.com/.
Sorry, I'm learning how to use the internet.
This message comes from Mattress Firm, ready to get quality sleep.
Hey, it's Mike and Ian. So this is another one of our archived episodes because, as we said a couple weeks ago, all of our older episodes have been wiped from the internet, gone forever.
We don't know what we did, but we did something to deserve this.
We really like this episode because it has a really important bit of information, a tip that could save your life if you're dying of hiccups.
True story. One time, Peter Sagal, we both also produce Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. Peter Sagal had the hiccups on stage during a live taping in front of hundreds of people. He couldn't get rid of them. I used the tip you are about to hear to relieve him of his hiccups and save the show. I saved this show.
Ian did this while the show was happening through Peter's headphones while he was on stage. It was almost a miracle. Almost.
Also, we should say you'll hear from Seth in this episode. Seth was our intern at the time. We loved Seth.
Yum.
Without further ado, here's the show.
I don't know if that's the answer, but it's delicious.
One question that a lot of you send in is, how do I stop the hiccups? If our email box is to be believed, there are thousands of you out there with the hiccups, unable to find a solution.
On the line with us now is Mike. He says he has a way to cure your hiccups.
I have no idea when my mom told me this, but she gave me a technique that she uses for getting rid of hiccups, which is to hold your breath and to close your eyes and picture a door with wind trying to blow it open and then a giant finger holding it shut. And for some reason, that's always worked for me getting rid of hiccups. And also, like, sharing it with friends and just random people in my life that have had hiccups. It's really worked with almost everybody.
Wow. Do you remember the last time you told somebody about it?
I was just chatting with my girlfriend about it, and she brought up our roommate, which is a good friend of hers. I guess she had hiccups for like 15 minutes a couple months ago. And I came home and did it with her, and they just went away right away, and she was drunk. So that just solidifies it. That's the go-to thing.
Well, can you describe a little bit more what the image looks like? Like, this hand, is it the size of a person? Is it in front of you, or?
It's like the size of... What I'm picturing is like a door and then a hand about the size of a door. So it's a very large hand.
Yeah.
And it's not connected to anything. It's just like kind of a cartoon hand holding this door shut. It would have to be a big hand, right?
Sure. Well, do you guys, in your home growing up, did you ever have a problem where you had doors that were being blown open by hard winds, stiff winds?
I can't. I don't think, no, that hasn't been a problem. I don't know where that originated from. It seems like something in your body must, I mean, if you're picturing that, then whatever has to open for a hiccup, I've just always thought you'd be holding that shut while you're thinking of it or something. I don't know.
You know, as you sort of laid through what I should be imagining, I closed my eyes, and in my head, the hand was about the size of the door, same thing, and it was disembodied, but it was wearing a white glove.
Oh. I don't know if it works with a white glove.
His master hand.
I wasn't picturing a white glove.
Yeah, you're gonna have to take that white glove off.
Okay, good. Were you guys picturing a room that was floating in space, and then the door was also in space?
I'm not even picturing. I guess I never thought about it enough to where there'd be a frame on the door. I'm just picturing a door for some reason.
A door with a finger holding it?
Yeah, I imagine it would definitely be in space though, wherever this door is.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's kind of beautiful meditative image, this door and this hand.
It's very specific.
Jeez.
And we here have the power of
that's not
audio. We can bring this to life. So if out there right now you have the hiccups,
Or maybe you anticipate having them later, we're going to help you.
So here we go. Here's a guided meditation. We're going to bring in a special guest. This will stop your hiccups.
Hello, I'm Nick Offerman. I'm sorry you have the hiccups, but it doesn't have to be this way. Close your eyes. Hold your breath. Now picture a door in front of you. A great wind outside is trying to blow it open. But a giant disembodied finger is holding it shut. Do you see it? Wind, you're no match for this giant disembodied hand. You should give up. Go away, wind, and this giant disembodied hand will wave goodbye. Maybe it'll even give you a giant disembodied high five for being such a good sport. There. Are your hiccups gone? You're welcome. Now you just need to get rid of this giant disembodied hand following you around.
Nick Offerman's latest book is Where the Deer and the Antelope Play.
This is How to Do Everything. I'm Mike.
And I'm Ian. On today's show, how to look cool carrying a trapper-keeper, and how to avoid the most painful bee sting.
But first,
your radio probably has an on-off switch, probably a dial.
It's a one-way device. You can't comment on something if you like it or dislike it. But it almost wasn't that way. Matt Novak is here with us now. He runs the Paleo Future blog.
So Matt recently came across some information about a device called Radio Vota from the 1930s. It was invented by a man named Neville Monroe Hopkins.
So, Matt, what can you tell us?
Well, it just seems so strange to me that this guy was so ahead of his time, in the sense that, you know, we like to think that this like button, the whole concept is rather new, but you know, this Dr. Hopkins had this idea that you'd be able to push a button and more or less have an instantaneous interaction with someone who's delivering a broadcast medium.
So basically, so I understand the technology right, this is a box that you would attach to your radio, and it's controlling electricity down a line, and at the other end of the line, someone can tell whether you've hit, what is it, yes, no, and present, is that right?
Yeah, you could tell, apparently, that the button was being pushed.
So radio, though, was kind of everything. So what was the range of things people could, in theory, comment on?
You know, I think that people were talking about the possibility of not liking jazz. I think that popped up in one of the articles. Obviously,
because of course,
jazz being still relatively new by the mid-1930s. There was, I think, a lot of snark in the newspapers about, yeah, you'd be able to press a no button to that jazz music. But yeah, politics was obviously a much more direct and obvious application for this box that Dr. Monroe had developed.
So this would be a great way to kind of weigh in on a fireside chat, say.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
Just put present.
Right. That's your sort of none of the above vote, I guess.
Yeah.
But, you know, also there's like, it is kind of an example of a lot of things that annoy people today. Like it's kind of a version of Wolf Blitzer on CNN reading tweets from viewers, and it's kind of a version of the like button. As somebody who sort of looks back through history, Do you find it comforting that we've kind of always been as annoying as we are today?
If there's anything I've learned through studying past visions of the future, it is that there really is nothing new. It is fascinating to me how we sort of evolve and have these ideas, and there's almost always something that relates to it that someone was trying to do 100 years earlier that was just far too ahead of its time. But yeah, I do find it oddly comforting to know that everything has always been the worst. It's not just today.
Well, Matt, thanks so much.
Oh, thanks for having me, guys.
Well, let's try this out. Let's try and make our own radio vote.
We should get Seth, hook him up with a fake radio vote and just let him comment on the rest of the show.
Seth, you cool with that?
Yeah, that sounds good. Ready to go.
Hey, Julia, what can we help you with?
So our principal, we have a new rule at school that we can't have backpacks, so we all have to use trapper keepers or carry around a stack of books. And I'm having trouble finding a good position to carry my trapper keeper so that I look cool.
So you have this trapper keeper. What's that look like?
It's lime green, and it has a lot of signatures like so-and-so is here, and I love Julia.
Did it come that way?
No, I think people wrote on it.
Right.
Well, okay, so in my experience, a trapper keeper is something you just kind of sling under your arm. It's pretty easy to carry. But is that what you're doing and it just doesn't look cool?
No, it doesn't look cool.
Yeah.
And sometimes I carry it like in front of me, like with your arms crossed around it, but that makes you look kind of weak. Weak body language, I think.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah.
Well, maybe, have you seen anyone who can pull it off? Is there anyone in school who manages to not look like a dork?
No, I haven't seen anyone.
Wow.
Is there, in your class, in your school, and a kind of icon of cool? And if so, could you kind of describe what they, how they carry themselves?
Well, actually, I'm sitting in my band teacher's room, and pretty much the coolest guy in our grade just walked in.
Oh, really?
His name is Zach.
Zach.
And he's just like he's super cool. He always wears hoodies.
Okay.
Can he hear you talking about him right now?
No, he just left.
Okay.
He's a trombone lesson.
Well, he's the coolest guy and he plays the trombone.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's he do when he has to carry his books and stuff?
The thing is, I don't notice. Because you only notice when they look dorky, what they're doing with their books.
Okay. Wait, so is he close enough by where you could run out and look at him and see what he's doing?
1 second. He's probably playing the trombone, but I'll check.
Okay.
Okay. So he's watching a band performance on the computer, and he's kind of standing there with his hand in his pocket, and he's a little slouched, but backward, not forward. And he's looking at it yeah, that's cool, and I totally get it, and I can be that cool.
Yeah, I'm picturing it. It does. The lean back definitely looks cool.
Yeah.
Would it be possible for you to go up to him and hand him a trapper keeper and see what he does with it?
I don't know. I don't see one around here.
Any books? Any notebooks?
I don't know. I don't want to interrupt his lesson.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but the way I see it, he's gonna have plenty of time to play the trombone, and you want to make sure you look cool.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
All right, bring the hold here.
Okay.
I'm nervous right now.
I'm wondering, do you think we're gonna get her in detention?
They're not gonna.
Risk reward here is high on the reward side.
And honestly, getting suspended a couple days probably is going to increase your image, your coolness. We're only helping. It's just a matter of how much.
Hello?
Hello.
Okay, so him and the teacher both think I'm crazy now, but what he did was he just put it under his arm and kind of walked. So I think that's probably the way to do it.
Did it look cool?
It did look cool.
Really?
We carried it in a way where you don't notice he's carrying it.
Was he still leaning back?
Yeah, a little bit.
All right.
Well, I mean, do you want to try that?
I guess. Okay. This feels pretty good. Especially with the lean back. I think that's an important component.
Yeah, all right.
Well, thanks, guys. I think I found a good position.
Great. Thanks, Julia. Have a good day.
All right, thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I definitely give Julia a yes because I really like how she described the coolest kid in school, Zach, which is really great. And I also like that she got her question answered right on the spot. I didn't like the peer pressure. That definitely made me a little bit uncomfortable, but I love that Julia pulled through, she followed through, and ended up getting a good answer to her question.
This message comes from Schwab. It's easy to invest in ideas you believe in with for everyone can, which comes from NPR.
You know what nobody likes? Getting stung by a bee. And what's the worst possible place to get stung?
We are about to talk about this, and we should say we're going to talk about, specific parts of the body. So if that bothers you, maybe do something else for a few minutes.
Michael Smith studies bees at Cornell University, and he tried to find the answer to that question.
So, Michael, you actually used yourself as a subject. Can you tell us how you did this research?
So let's see, there were 25 body locations, and I stung each body location 3 times. I can tell you which was the worst area of the 25 that I stung, though.
Okay. Please do.
So that would be the nostril.
Inside?
Inside.
Oh.
Ouch.
So if you were to touch your own nose, not on the outside of your nose, but if you were to, like, the skin in between your 2 nostrils, as if you were a bull and you'd be pierced there, put a honeybee instead.
You did that 3 times to yourself?
Yes.
So, maybe this is a personal question, but did a bee sting your sensitive man region?
Yes, it did. Actually, 2 locations within the sensitive man regions.
Really?
Yes. The scrotum and the penis shaft.
Ah, wow.
So,
and you're clearly a scientist who cared very much about getting everything right, but this had to have been a hard day, realizing that this was what was going to happen.
I think it's just, as strange as it sounds, it's just like, okay, this is my life, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Wow.
I have to ask you, Michael, so you're stinging yourself every day, multiple times. What was your reaction when you're doing that? When you're standing there and a bee stings you, if a bee stings me, I'd probably shriek or something. What were your reactions?
I guess, again, that would depend on the location. For some of them, it was just, okay, that was painful. Was it more painful or less painful than the sting I just received on my forearm? However, in the case of the nostril, that's a whole body experience.
Yeah.
When you get a sting to the nostril, it's pretty violent. Your nose just starts flowing mucus out. Your tears in your eyes, they're just welling up. You're sneezing, you're coughing. It's a whole body experience. And remember, at that point, I've just received the sting. I have to leave the stinger in there for a full minute.
Yeah.
So at that point, your body just wants to get the stinger out. And if you think of the way honeybees, we know that they zero into locations that have high contrast. For example, if you're doing beekeeping, you're wearing a watch with a black band, they will target the line between your skin and the dark band. We also know that they react very strongly to CO2. So they really are. Their evolution has done a great job for them to really target the most sensitive spots on your body.
I see all the time. I see ads for studies that are done by at universities where they need volunteers, or they even offer compensation for people to be a subject in a study. This seems like one where you could have got somebody else to take the stings. Why'd you want to do it?
I'm the best person to really rate my own pain.
Yeah.
So in that way, it really had to be me. In addition, if I'm looking for a subject that their immune system isn't going to change over the course of the 38 days that I was stung, I need someone who works with bees as well. So I'm not just looking for any old student. I'm looking for a student who's also a beekeeper, who's received stings over the last couple of months, and who's willing to do this, and then I would have to pay them.
So, Michael, if you're out in nature and a bee comes up to you and you're trying to, it's clearly agitated, what part of your body then are you going to offer to it to keep it from stinging you inside your nose?
In the pain rating that I have, the skull, the middle toe tip,
Rockin'
and
missed
the upper
3
arm,
times.
all 3 received the same pain rating, which was a 2.3.
So the toe tip, in that case, it's like you want to direct them, if they're going to sting you, get them to the toe.
Yes. Although actually, personal preference, I would probably go for the skull or upper arm.
Oh.
Just because I think then you'd have to take off your shoes, and that would be ridiculous.
Well, thank you. This has been so disturbing and fascinating.
I hope so.
No, I could actually sort of feel what he was talking about, and it was kind of horrible, and I hated it.
That does it
I think
for
that
this
was
week's
just
show.
bad
What we
luck.
learned today, Mike?
Well, I learned that the most painful place to get a bee sting is inside your nose.
Yeah. When you think about it, Honey Nut Cheerios kind of look like little nostrils. Bees always hanging around. Hey, maybe he's not the benevolent little insect that we thought he was. He's just looking for a nostril to sting.
I got a Cheerio stuck up my nose once.
I mean, of the things you can get stuck up your nose, it's probably the best. It's got the breathing hole right in it.
It's not what the doctor said. Talking to Julia, I wonder if in every high school, the coolest kid is named Zach.
I think that's true.
I mean, think about it. Saved by the Bell, coolest guy was Zach.
I think Slater might disagree with you. I think there were those that think Slater was cooler, but I see your point. I do think if you're a parent and your dream for your child is that they grow up and be cool, name them Zach.
High School Musical, Zac Efron.
Didn't see that. How to Do Everything is produced by Steven Tobias with technical direction from Lorna White.
Our intern this week is Seth Kelly. I bet you like this part, huh, Seth?
No, it was kind of horrible, and I hated it.
Get us your questions at howto@npr.org.
And it looks like we have a voicemail here.
Hey guys, it's Julia calling back about my Trapper Keeper situation. So
Okay.
I held it under my arm, and I felt pretty confident and pretty cool. I think I'm going to keep going with it. So I was kind of hoping you would call in somebody famous, but you two did a pretty good job helping me. So thanks a lot. Have a good day.
We can't let Julia down.
You know what? Let's call up Slater. Let's call up
Don't do
AC
that.
Slater.
He's a famous person.
Mario Lopez played Slater on Saved by the Bell. So, Mario, any advice for Julia?
First of all, Julia, I think what I would suggest is using your locker and going one period at a time to get your book. Because you can be cool with one book. You can't be cool with more than one book. Just make a little trip to your locker, and you get a little exercise in while you're there, and you'll look much cooler.
This message comes from NPR sponsor Fiore, a new perspective on performance apparel. Check out the latest Dream.
This message comes from Mint
No,
Mobile.
don't
From
do
the
that.
gas pump to the grocery store.
One of our
Wait, did I skip one?
This message comes from Mint.
years ago, the town of Espoo, Finland, had a problem with thousands of young people gathering on the beaches and committing crimes. Some of them very serious crimes.
Inspector Hannu Vannanen had an idea to stop it. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, in Finland, in central Finland, they had used classical music in a shopping mall. The youth didn't like the classical music, so they evaded it. And then I'm a little
I have
bored
like a
in
million
this police station. I suggested to the superiors that should we try to play the classical music at the beach, and we played it. The youth usually they gather there around 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. until the 1 a.m. the whole night, and we started the music at 4 or 5 p.m. So there wasn't youth already there, and the youth they did come in small groups, but they started to move one by one step, 2 steps, 3 steps away from the music. It wasn't loud. They could talk there, but I'm not sure what's the problem with the classical music. But they did move.
It sounds like you just kind of changed the vibe of the beach to a place they didn't think was cool anymore.
Yes, I something like that.
Am I right that the vibe there, the scene at the beach with the classical music would almost make it perfect for a romantic picnic?
Well, yeah, if you like Bach or Mozart or pan flute music, then it's okay. And the people, some of the older people came and they enjoyed like a pizza and wine or something with the classical music.
I guess that would be a danger that you would, by playing the classical music, you could be attracting too many old people.
Well, they warned us about that. My superiors also warned me about that, but that's not the case yet.
Yeah. Do you in your private personal life, do you listen to classical music?
Not much. Sorry about that.
So it kind of had the same effect on you, didn't it?
Well, it might have. It might have.
This is How to Do Everything. I'm Ian.
And I'm Mike. On today's show, how to fix the net at your basketball game. But first,
we got an email from Brian, which he sent from his seat at a minor league baseball game. Said he needed some help.
Brian, what can we help you with?
Yeah, so right when I was watching a mascot race at the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs baseball game here in Allentown, Pennsylvania, they do a mascot race in the middle of one of their innings. I just thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was like, how can I do this? And how hard are these costumes to run in?
What are the mascots that are racing?
So it's all pork-based characters. My favorite is Chris P. Bacon, P.Bacon, slice of bacon. Diggity is a hot dog. Hambone is a slice of ham. Hambone always loses. There's barbecue, that's a pulled pork sandwich. And then they added, somebody recently, Ribby into rack of ribs. So there's 5.
Well, that actually raises a question that I have, Brian. So for Hambone, what is the shape of Hambone? Because Hambone always loses. Is that an issue because aerodynamically Hambone has more surface area?
That's a good point. I mean, Hambone is kind of what you would think. It's like a hock of ham. It's harder to move in that than, say, like a vertical hot dog. Although,
yeah, I
mean, you could argue that the hot dog could be hard because it could be very top heavy.
I've always wondered if it's rigged. Like if somebody at the top of the organization says, today it's you, Crispy Bacon.
Really? Like, to what end do you think, though? Is it just like to give Crispy Bacon his due or her due?
Yeah. You all think that it's a real fair contest.
I think there are occasions when it's fair, but now that you say it, I mean, with the rise in sports gambling, you have to wonder if there's like an underbelly here.
Well, Brian, I think we have somebody who can help us here. The most treasured of all the mascot races is the Johnsonville famous racing sausages race at Milwaukee Brewers games.
Online with us now is their Italian sausage. And we've been told, being completely serious, in no uncertain terms, we've been told not to reveal the human identity of this sausage.
So, Italian sausage, how long have you been doing the sausage race?
I've been doing it for close to 15 years. So I've lost track of how many races I've run. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I'm typically the Italian. I'm partial to the Italian. It's the costume I won my first race in. But we switch it up. Sometimes we'll hop into the bratwurst or the hot dog. We also have the Polish and the chorizo.
So it's always you, and is it the same 3 or 4 other people in the other sausage costumes?
No, so we actually have anywhere from 30 to 50 people that do it. Yeah, I mean, it would be crazy to commit to every home game like that.
Yeah.
But no, we do mix it up. One of the most common questions we get is it fixed? Is the race predetermined? And I can tell you that absolutely not. We try. It is legit. It gets competitive. We are out there racing our butts off, and it's exhausting. I don't know how long it is, but we go from the opposing dugout to all the way past the home dugout in the camera well into the outfield. And in the summer months it is hot, it is sweaty, it is a physically demanding experience.
What Italian sausage, which of the sausages has an advantage?
Generally, we would say the 4 that are not chorizo, because the chorizo has the sombrero.
Oh,
and that adds some extra weight and some aerodynamic implications that you have to factor in.
Sure. If you had the power to animate, if you had the power, Italian sausage, to animate all 5 sausages, you were given a gift, which of the 5 sausages, real sausages, would win a race?
I would have to say hot dog, because it's the most slender.
Yeah.
Not a lot of extra, weight to it.
Now, Mike a second ago accidentally said your name, which we've bleeped out, and it was very clear as we were setting up this interview that we were only to refer to you as Italian Sausage. We are to protect your identity, which we're happy to do. I am curious why, though, why that's important. Are they afraid that somebody is going to try and influence the sausage race by finding you in your human life, or?
I think it goes back to just sort of mascot code in general.
Yeah.
You go to Disney parks and they're always in character.
Yeah.
That's sort of how we look at it. Do
you have a rival, either a rival sausage or a rival human inside of the sausage costume? Like, is there somebody you always want to beat?
Yeah, there have been some rivalries. I had a run-in with the chorizo once. So it was the 20th anniversary of the sausage race or something. It was a landmark day. It was a big deal, and tried to take an aggressive turn around home, and chorizo is kind of in the same line, and we bump, and I fall, and still managed to get back on my feet and finish 3rd, but I happened to make it on SportsCenter's not top 10 for this.
How'd that feel?
It felt like something I wanted to share with everyone. Like, it didn't get, it's like, and I asked people, like, okay, on the not top 10, do I want to be higher? Or I was number 8.
Oh, yeah.
Like, if I'm going to be on the not top 10, don't I want to just go all the way for number 1, right? Like,
yeah.
Additionally, they had me fill out an injury report. I scraped my knee a little bit. So I had to fill out this injury report for, the club policy.
Yeah.
And there are this questionnaire. It's like, was another employee involved in the incident? And I said, yes, incidental contact with chorizo.
I mean, I have to ask, how can Mike and I get in a sausage race? How do we do it? We will be there at the drop of a hat.
Yeah, you guys just say the word and we'll get you booked.
I gotta be honest, I didn't think that last part was gonna work, but we are going to Milwaukee to be sausages. You'll know we're there when we start speaking in hushed tones. All right, we're at American Family Field where the Milwaukee Brewers play baseball. We're starting out at the tailgate. And I should say we invited Peter Sagal to join us here in Milwaukee. He is, of course, usually our taste tester. I figure climbing into a sausage costume that has been worn by countless hot, sweaty people running as fast as they can, that counts as a taste test. There will be a flavor within.
It's definitely a sensory experience. Like, you're gonna sense things and smell things probably, and maybe even taste things depending on what you're doing in there.
I am extremely excited about this. This is in fact, I'm so excited about it. It's almost like a weird thing that you invited me to do it, because usually my attitude is dread, but I'm very excited.
You think we're gonna trick you at some point?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it can't be this great.
Oh, I don't have any
there has
money.
to be a catch.
Dang it.
Okay.
We'll find a way to meet your dread, I think. Okay. So we're about to go back there. We've sat through 3 innings of this game, looking at the field on which we're about to run. What are you all feeling about it?
Growing anxiety.
You feel nervous.
Well, yeah, not just because of the game. There are a lot of people here. And you'll note that during every sort of interstitial moment, everybody's paying a lot of attention. Like they had that, find the coin or the whatever, the ball under the baseball hat animation. Everybody was playing. everybody was shouting out their answers. They're going to be watching us.
Here's the thing, and if you didn't know this already, they're not going to know it's us.
Oh, I'm well aware of that. But you still might fall down. That's exactly it. What if I, as whatever sausage ended up being, fall down? People will be telling for years. They'll say, "Oh, did you see that night? The Polish fell down. I was there that night." What do you guys think?
I am not nervous. I have no expectation. I just want to finish. Hina, how are you feeling?
Yeah, growing anxiety. I'm just like dancing in my chair a little bit more than I used to be. There are a ton of people here. The sausages also are like everywhere, like so.
What sausage do you want to be?
Not chorizo. Anything but chorizo.
What do you want to be?
Anything but chorizo, which probably means I'm going to end up being the chorizo.
Peter, would you like to be the chorizo?
I would not like to be the chorizo.
Well, I'm sorry.
We can edit out where he said not.
We have some bad news, Peter.
Well, I figured. In the text that I sent to my friends, I was told to avoid the chorizo because you can't see them from under the hat. So I'll probably get the chorizo. I don't want to be the chorizo.
Okay, let's get to it. They take Hina, Mike, Peter, and me. They take us all down beneath the stadium to get our costumes on. And this guy gives us this big spiel about the rules. A lot of it has to do with the mascot code.
Yeah, apparently, and I hadn't really thought about this. In retrospect, thinking back about my encounters with mascots, it makes a lot of sense. The thing they're most concerned about is breaking the illusion that in this case, the sausage, is in fact a sausage rather than a person in a sausage suit.
Well, I think we should reveal. So we're about to go out on the field here and actually do this race and see which of us triumphs. It's the four of us and somebody from the Mets who was. He took the role of hot dog.
I was Italian sausage. Ian, you were bratwurst.
I was Polish.
And that means there's only one person left to be chorizo.
Can we let the listeners guess who that was? Just for a moment? Should we do that?
All right, fans, time now for the Johnsonville famous racing sausage race. Wearing number 1, it's the Johnsonville bratwurst. Number 2, we have the Johnsonville Polish sausage. Wearing number 3, the Johnsonville Italian sausage. Wearing number 4, the Johnsonville hot dog. And number 5, it's the Johnsonville chorizo. All right, sausages, on your mark, get set, go! They're off and racing, the hot dog taking an early lead with the chorizo to the inside in second. It's the Polish in third, the bratwurst moving up now with the Italian trailing the field. They make the turn, and they're heading down the stretch. At least the hot dog is. He's all by himself tonight. It's the hot dog all alone at the wire.
Obviously, the hot dog, the one of us that was not, the one person who was not one of us, jumped out to a huge lead. If you're watching it on the Jumbotron, after about 5 seconds, none of us were even visible because he was so far ahead of us.
I was like, is that a false start? Did I miss the start? Because it just seems so unlikely.
Yeah.
Exactly what
That, yeah.
You saw him too?
Oh yeah.
I could
saw
barely
him.
focus
saw
on
him
anything.
running so quickly that I was like, there's just simply no way that they actually said go.
You know why I don't think I saw anybody? Because I was in last place. I just saw you guys. All I saw was Hina, and I just knew that I had to beat. I couldn't be last.
Ultimately, that's where the drama for the
know
crowd was who was going to be last between Mike and Hina, because it was neck and neck for the bottom.
And I think I've seen video, and I do think we tied. The hot dog guy smoked us
completely. We were smoked sausages.
Hey, if you have any questions you want us to answer, you can send them to us at howto@npr.org. That's our email address. And we promise we look at every email we receive.
If your question is that you are currently stuck inside of a bratwurst costume, I'll just tell you right now, just bend both of your elbows the other way, unlock your hips, and rotate your head 360 degrees.
This message comes from Charles Schwab. When it comes to managing your wealth, Schwab gives you more choices, like full-service wealth management and advice when you need it. You can also invest on your own and trade on Thinkorswim. Visit schwab.com to learn more. This message is sponsored by Greenlight, the debit card and money app made for families, where kids learn how to save, invest, and spend wisely with parental controls built in. Sign up this holiday season at Greenlight.
Annual return, all while contributing to a more sustainable.
Our mail, some correspondence from you all that we would like to.
All investments carry risk, including the potential loss of principal.
Hey, we got some listener mail, some correspondence from you all that we would like to acknowledge. First up, we got something from Madeline. Just wanted to report back that I have never seen the movie The Champ, and when I heard the short snippet from the movie you played in the archive episode, I didn't cry. But when I heard Mike start crying, I unexpectedly started crying with full tears. I also have young kids, so maybe that's it.
Madeline, I feel your pain. I inspired your pain.
You caused
I caused your pain. I caused your pain with my pain. I have not watched The Champ in the years since we recorded that episode. Have you, Ian?
Well, no, I haven't, but I'll say, listening back to our podcast episode, in which I did not cry, which I was completely stone-hearted.
Yeah.
I cried when I heard you cry.
Did you?
I did. I have kids. I didn't have them when we recorded that episode.
Yeah.
But you also caused my pain.
Oh, well, you're welcome.
Here's another one. This is from Oliver. He's responding to our recent episode about things that are world famous. He's writing from Australia. He says, I will preface that I'm from the east coast of Australia, but here we call the event of a hot dog sale a sausage sizzle, and we call a hot dog itself a snag.
Okay, I don't think I would ever do that. I don't think I'd be comfortable ordering a Chicago-style snag.
I can say that I was just moments ago completely humiliated by a very fast snag.
Yeah, see, when you said that, I wasn't sure if we needed to mark this episode explicit or not.
Oh, we also want to point out one of our reviews on Apple Podcasts.
This is from Hydro Flask Water Bottle, who asks, do you guys actually read these? I think the answer is obviously yes.
We are currently doing so. Yep. Hydro Flask Water Bottle.
The Cocoa Beach high school basketball team was playing a game, and the net went up through the hoop and got stuck. The players kept jumping up to try and knock it down, but nothing was working.
The game was stopped. The game could not go on. So Bella Haley Jatana from the Cocoa Beach High School cheerleading squad, can you tell us what you did?
Well, we were just sort of cheering like we would normally do, and then the game just sort of stops. It's like we were just watching them struggle for like a fat minute until we sort of realized like, wait, when we do pep rallies and stuff, my head goes past the rim. So we decided to, show off one of our skills and solve the problem at the same time, It was easy peasy.
Okay. For Mike and I, who don't know a lot about cheering, can you describe what you did?
So there was 3 of us. We had a back spot and 2 side bases.
Okay, those are fresh. That's fresh vocabulary for us here. Back spot, side bases.
So the girl that is the back spot, she is behind holding.
Okay, so basically what they're describing here, none of the boys on the basketball team could fix the net. So the cheerleaders did, we've all seen it, kind of a basic cheerleading pyramid with one of them way up in the air, and she untangled the net.
Yeah, it looks awesome.
It was like actually tangled up in there, but they got me high enough so I was able to clearly be able to untangle it.
How did the crowd react? Because it looks like you're just kind of doing your thing.
I think for a second they didn't, some of them didn't really realize what was, going on. And then, you heard one kid from the other, side go, oh! And, then, people started, clapping and stuff. So we were like, oh, wow, this is fun.
Did the boys on the team, did you sense that you had bruised any egos when they were unable to help and you were?
I mean, they just sort of went back into their game and sort of just let it go.
Yeah.
Sweep it under the rug like it never happened.
Yeah, there you go.
A funny piece of information is Bella's brother is actually on the basketball team, so his sister had to come out for the rescue. Pretty odd.
Yeah.
Oh.
He was just standing there helplessly.
Bella, does your brother feel bad that you can probably dunk better than he can?
I don't think so. He's pretty close to dunking right now, so I think he's fine with it.
How many side bases does it take for him to dunk?
Maybe one or two.
There you go.
Have you all, any other time in your life when you're not at a game cheerleading, have you used your cheerleading skills to help out in other ways?
I actually use it sometimes at work. Instead of there being 3 bases, it's just me and the person that needs to, grab something from the top shelf. I just kind of make the same hand motion and just lift them up a little bit.
Wow.
It still works to help them up.
Awesome. Well, this has been so much fun. Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for having us.
Thank you.
Well, that does it for this week's show. What'd you learn, Ian?
I learned that the mascot code is very real, and people take it very seriously.
Let me just ask you, was there ever a point when we were on the field, we're giving high fives, or we're doing our best to give high fives? Because the fact is, because we have no peripheral vision, and because I didn't feel comfortable turning, I couldn't actually turn to look at the people I was giving high fives in the stands. So there were a lot of phantom high fives.
All the fans are leaning through the netting that is up to catch foul balls. I was giving every high five I could. I got very nervous that my costume was going to become entangled in the netting. I saw it all happening, that then it would tear the costume from my body as my human self fell to the ground. Children everywhere, the mascot code would be broken. Children would see that there was a man within. There would just be tears.
That's not a real bratwurst. You think that's what people would say?
He's not the bratwurst we thought he was. How to Do Everything is produced by Polish Sausage, Hina Shrivastava. Technical direction from Lorna White.
Our intern this week is the hot dog that beat us in the sausage race. Congratulations, hot dog.
Get us your questions at howto@npr.org. I'm Ian.
And I'm Mike. Thanks.
So, did you watch the sausage race?
Yes.
What'd you think?
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Who was your favorite sausage?
The chorizo has always been my favorite. Yeah.
So this guy right here was the chorizo.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was.
What happened?
What happened? You asked me what happened? I came in third. Look. I won my age group.
This message comes from REI Co-op, from Early Morning Run.
This message comes from...
Hey, this is another one of our resuscitated episodes, which we're bringing you every other week. You're probably used to the cadence at this point. What I'm saying right now is probably unnecessary.
Just know this episode contains one of our favorite segments with one of our favorite guests ever, Sir Patrick Stewart.
And I'm just going to say, he performs the role of a lifetime.
Hey, Rachel, what can we help you with?
I was wondering if you could find out how do cows moo? Well, how would a person moo in a British accent?
I think the place to start would be, how do you moo?
I moo with an American kind of Nevadan accent going moo.
Okay.
Standard cow.
Yeah. How long would you say that you've been wondering about this?
It's been a couple months.
You run into cows as part of your daily life?
Not so much, just kind of pass them.
Okay, you pass them by. And do you ever try and engage them in conversation?
Nah, they're too far away, usually.
It's possible the cows you're passing are British, but you've never talked to them.
Maybe, I hope so. That'd be really cool.
Or maybe they're looking at you going, I wonder what one of those sounds like with a British accent.
All right, well, we are going to find you an answer, and
okay.
We'll talk to you soon. Well, this certainly seems like something Sir Patrick Stewart, star of Stage and Screen, could help with.
Hi, Mike. Hi, Ian.
Hello.
So, Patrick Stewart, you heard Rachel's question.
And you'd like me to answer that question, which I'm happy to do. It's not a straightforward, simple answer. Unlike probably many other countries where a cow's moo is a cow's moo, in England, you understand, we are dominated by class, by social status, and by location. So, for example, a cow that is in a field next to my house in West Oxfordshire would moo in one kind of way, And a cow in a field in the semi-industrial town I grew up in the north of England, would moo in another kind of way. Am I clear so far?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if I were at home in West Oxfordshire right now and I walk down my lane and there are always cows, and I say, "Hi, good morning, cows," and they would moo at me like this. Moo. Now that's a very conservative move. You must understand that I live in the constituency of David Cameron, who is a Tory, and I assume these cows voted for him. I don't actually vote there. I vote in another place in London.
Okay.
But if I were at my home in Yorkshire, where I grew up, and I went out, and it's not that there are many fields left where I grew up, but I would find one, and I would find some cows. What you'd hear would be something like this. I'll do that again. You can hear the difference, don't you?
That is a stark difference.
Yeah, well, this is all to do with environmental and cultural conditioning. Now, then, and I know we don't have time really to go into this in detail. We'd need the whole afternoon. But what you're understanding is that the English moo changes from location to location.
Well, our caller who asked this question is from Nevada. I wonder if you're familiar with the sounds of American cows. If you want to give us your impression of that.
Well, yeah, it's very funny you should say that. But my wife is also from Nevada, so I have some experience of Nevada cattle. And if you like, I can give you my impression of a Nevada cow.
Wow, it's a much higher pitch.
Hear the difference?
Yeah.
Yeah, much higher pitch, and it's much more nasal because, of course, that's the way you people talk. And of course, the cows are influenced by how you talk, as you are influenced by the cow.
One of the things we know about English culture is that breeding is so important for people, and it's something we talk about also with cattle. So what would a cow that is the most well-bred, how would that cow move?
Well, this is a very interesting question, and I really don't have time to go into it in detail. But we had a prime minister many, many years ago called Alec Douglas Hume. And one of the wonderful things about Alec Douglas Hume, including his name, by the way, and you would think that his name was probably spelled H-O-O-M-E-H-U-M-L or something like that. His name was actually spelled H-O-M-E, home, but it was pronounced Hume. And that we do that mostly to confuse Americans, you know, like Leicester Square and Leicester and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, the thing about Alec Douglas Hume was that he didn't move his lips when he talked. I'll give an example. This is how the other talking. They naturally move their lips because moving your lips is terribly bad taste. You understand me? So, if Alec Douglas Hume had cattle, and I'm sure he did, he must have been a landowner because I think he was actually Scottish. His cows would have moved something like this. Very refined, very sophisticated.
Yeah. Well, Sir Patrick, thank you so much for your time.
You're very welcome. I enjoyed talking to you.
This is How to Do Everything. I'm Mike.
And I'm Ian. On today's show, we'll tell you how to insult people properly. But first...
Hey, Casey. What can we help you with?
So I actually called to see if you guys could help me find a better way to pour root beer.
Okay.
I love root beer, and I always I'll pour it, and it foams up to like, you know, there's just a tiny bit of root beer at the bottom, and it foams up to the top of the glass and floats over, and I just was looking for a better way to do it.
Yeah. Well, what have you tried?
So I've tried a lot of stuff. I'll put it in the fridge for a while so it's nice and cold, or I've poured it over ice. I've poured it room temperature. I've actually tried to get it really close to frozen because I don't know why, but I feel like it's gonna do a better job when it's cold. But nothing seems to work. I actually poured a cup of root beer earlier today, and I had to sit and wait 15-20 seconds for the foam to go down just because nothing works.
And you're missing valuable root beer time when you're waiting for the foam.
Yeah, I mean these are seconds I'll never get back.
Do you have a root beer with you right now?
I can go grab one right now. Yeah.
Let's see if we can hear your technique.
All right. Let me go and get a cup real quick.
I'm a little worried that Casey might have a root beer problem.
Yeah, it's the addiction that we need to address before the phone.
Oh, hold on.
That could be something also that we needed to address. But that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
All right. So let me see. I'll go ahead and I'll pour, and I'll put the phone near the cup so you guys can hear.
Thanks.
All right. I just poured it, and it's like 3/4 foam and a little bit of soda at the bottom right now, just sitting there.
Huh. We are gonna try and find some help for you.
That sounds great. I can't wait to hear what you guys find out.
All right, we've got Guy Crosby on the line. He's the science editor for America's Test Kitchen.
Guy, can you help out Casey?
Oh, there are a number of solutions that should at least reduce the amount of foaming. So when you think of sugar, the more you...
All right, Guy is talking now, and he's saying a lot of scientific things that might be hard to absorb, so we'll just try and sum it up quickly.
All right, the colder a liquid gets, the higher the concentration of gas you can dissolve in it. So colder root beer has more carbon dioxide in it.
And also the pressure of the bottle keeps the gas in the liquid.
So when you pour cold root beer into a warm or room temperature glass, the gas comes rushing out, and you get even more foam. It's even worse because there's no longer pressure on holding it in.
Okay, now we're going to go back to Guy.
The other thing I would say is that when you pour the beverage, the root beer, into a glass, the thing that really triggers sudden release of all this gas are what's called nucleation sites. And these are places when the gas bubbles can develop and then suddenly release. And these are things like a little bit of lint or imperfection in the glass, like little teeny tiny scratches you can't even see.
So does that mean the more irregular the surface that you're pouring the root beer onto, the more foam you're going to get?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's one thing you can do. Another thing is, of course, you can chill down the glass. It's going to help to maintain the temperature of the liquid and maintain the greater solubility that the gas has at lower temperatures.
Okay.
Oh, well, the other thing you can do is, and this comes back to sort of the art of champagne. When you have a high surface area glass like a goblet, it's going to trigger the more release more rapidly of the gas versus a tall, thin glass, which has less surface area to contact the liquid and, cause the gas to be released either due to temperature or to nucleation sites. So if Casey used a real tall, thin glass that he had chilled down in the freezer, and one that was really, really, really clean, maybe even almost new, then you'd have a good chance of having much less fizzing.
It makes the daily drinking of root beer a lot more festive in a flute, though.
Yeah, it would.
How much do you think it would cost, Guy, to get a champagne flute fitted with a handle?
Well, that's a good question. I don't know that I know that. I do know I went to, gave a lecture at the University of Toledo, and it was in their chemistry department, and they have a glass blower there. And he makes special mugs. They gave me one to take home, which was tall and narrow with a handle on it. So I think it would work out just right.
You have reached Steve Mulder at the University of Toledo Glass Shop. I am either out of the office or I have my hands full of hot glass. Please leave a detailed message including your name and phone number, and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. Thank you.
Hello, Steve. This is Mike and Ian from NPR. We got your number from Guy Crosby. We want to talk to you about...
Hello.
Hello, Steve.
Just walked in. What's up?
Hey, it's Mike and Ian from How to Do Everything at NPR.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
How's it going?
Good. What's going on there?
So we got your number from Guy Crosby, and we were talking to him, and he told us about the mug you made for him.
Uh-huh.
So, well, we had a special request. We have a listener who really loves root beer.
Uh-huh.
And he doesn't like that when he pours his root beer, it creates all this root beer foam.
Uh-huh.
And Guy said that there's really no better glass to minimize your root beer foam than the type you made, the skinny with the handle.
Uh-huh.
What can we do to get our hands on one of those?
Yeah, I can put a mug together for you. Tell me what you want. The mug will probably be around $10.
That's great.
We can handle that.
Yeah, we can cover that.
Okay.
Thanks so much.
Uh-huh.
If you have any questions, feel free to send them to us. Send them to our email, howto@npr.org.
Maybe you have a question about your cow. Maybe you have a question about root beer. Maybe your cow refuses to drink the root beer you're offering her. If that's your question, send it to us at howto@npr.org.
No matter what your question is, we guarantee we will find a Knight of the British Order to answer it.
This message comes from Schwab. At Schwab, how you invest is your choice, not parent advice.
Kids learn to earn.
Focused dining.
Bishop Desmond Tutu had just referred to the government of South Africa as a, quote, lick-spittle bunch.
We hadn't heard that term before, so we called up Ammon Shea,
It's
co-author of the book Depraved and Insulting English.
So, Ammon, lick-spittle, is this a term you're familiar with?
Yes. A fawning sycophant and parasite.
Oh.
Someone who licks the spit of another, I imagine.
You would have to be pretty fawning to do that, I guess.
Right.
So are there any other kind of old or archaic insults that we should bring back?
Yeah, there's one of my personal favorites is a cacinator, which is a word for somebody who either laughs too much or laughs too loudly.
Cacinator.
Yeah, it was very closely related generally to the sialoquent, who is somebody who actually spits when they speak. I mean, we just call them spitters, I guess, but sialoquent has a kind of more noble ring to it. But I think my all-time favorite insult is probably a bayard, B-A-Y-A-R-D, because it's so applicable in so many areas of life. And a bayard is a person who is armed with the self-confidence of ignorance.
Like a confident idiot.
Not just a confident idiot, but somebody who is confident because of their idiocy. I think one of the things that I think is delightful about English is how ridiculously specific it can be in so many circumstances. You know, a pricklouse was not what it sounds like, fortunately. A pricklouse was a derogatory term for a tailor in the 17th century. A rapin, R-A-P-I-N, was a word for an unruly art student. I'm not quite sure why we need such specific words for these things, but they came up and somebody filed them away for future use, I suppose.
So, Ammon, when you're driving, what do you yell at the people who cut you off in traffic, knowing that you have this arsenal of insults at your fingertips?
I don't, I'm sorry to say.
Come on, really?
Well, first of all, I live in New York City, so I do very little driving.
Right.
Well, let's say someone from, I don't know, the 1600s, 1700s, was transported into the future and suddenly became a cab driver in New York City. What might they yell?
They would yell probably Jehu, which was a very archaic insult for a unruly, ferocious, or unreasonable driver. Jehu comes from the Old Testament, and I think Jehu was the son of Nimshi, and he was known in the Old Testament in those circles for being a particularly reckless charioteer. And so Jehu kind of extends himself into the 16th, 17th, 18th centuries as a synonym for a reckless driver.
So, like, can you believe this, Jehu?
Something like that.
Well, Ammon, thanks for telling us about this stuff.
All right. Well, thank you for having me.
You're a real pricklouse.
That's exactly what I was. I've heard that before.
Well, that does it for this week's show. What'd you learn, Ian?
I learned that the perfect vessel for drinking root beer is actually a champagne flute.
What it means, though, is that you could have a situation where you have a root beer float flute.
You could have a root beer float flute.
The key is to make sure you regulate the root beer flow when making a root beer float flute.
Because the overflow in the float flute could end up on the floor.
I learned that a cacinator is somebody who laughs too much.
You know, yeah, when you think about it, Like, imagine how different the Terminator would have been if it was the Cacinator.
I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. I'll be back.
How to Do Everything is produced by Jillian Donovan, with technical direction from Lorna White.
Our intern this week is Jeff Bartle,
PhD. Our artist in residence is Justin Whitty.
You can get us your questions at howto@npr.org.
Our website is howtodoeverything.org. I'm Ian.
And I'm Mike.
Thanks.
This message comes from REI Co-op. From early morning runs to last-minute trips, make time. This message comes from parents and sleep at night.
Hey, Billy. What can we help you with?
Well, there's been a sort of an ongoing thing between me and my wife now for 29 years, going on almost 30, about how to make the bed. When you have printed sheets, do the printed top sheet, does it go printed side up or printed side down?
That's a good question.
Yeah. Okay, so you and your wife, who's on which side?
She is
On
the
top.
one who thinks the printed side of the top sheet should go down on the bed so that you're sleeping between the pretties, as she's always told me.
Between the pretties.
And I'm the one who the printed side should be up on both sheets just because they match that way.
So, okay, so you said this has been a debate, a crisis in your marriage for 29 years?
Correct.
Wow. Well, first of all, congratulations. 29 years, that's no small thing.
I appreciate that.
Especially with tensions running high as they are. Billy, we're going to do our best to save your marriage and get an answer to this question.
I would be most appreciative.
All right, I think we have the perfect person to decide this for us. I feel like there is an objective right answer here.
Grant, what's the best way to identify you?
A lot of people just say Grant Howard, former butler to King Charles and Queen Camilla, normally.
That is Grant Howard, the former butler to King Charles. And we figure if anybody would know the proper way to make a bed, it is Grant. So Grant, what's the verdict?
So basically, the first thing you would do is the actual first sheet would go on the bed. And it would all get tucked in, and you do the hospital corners, nice crisp hospital corners. And then what you'd have is the next sheet, and that would be quite, as your listener was it his wife was saying, it'd be the other way round. It would be with the pattern down, and just to be really exact with this, and the pillowcases would always make sure you'd always have the opening towards each other, so they'd all be facing into the bed, and that's how you'd make your perfect bed. Technically.
Wow. So I'm just going to say, by royal decree, Billy's wife is correct.
Yeah, she's absolutely right, and he's completely wrong on this one.
Well, I feel like we should just clarify, though, Grant, specifically, King Charles sleeps between the pretties.
I can't confirm or deny that, but if he has had it done the way that I was taught, then he would sleep in between the pretties.
I have to ask, does King Charles sleep in a king-size bed?
His bed's just like I can't give the details of it, but it's just a normal bed. If I can say that.
Let me say this, though, Grant, because, let me do you one better. It's a normal bed for him. He's a king. Therefore,
Exactly.
it's a king-size bed.
Exactly. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's very good. That's very good. Yeah, king goes in a king-size bed. That did perfect. That did perfect scenario.
Can I ask this question? So, when you make your bed, do you, Grant, sleep between the pretties?
Oh, yes. Yeah, 100%.
Thinking about his sleep and that part of his life, does the king have an alarm clock?
I don't know, but on saying that, Queen Elizabeth, and he now has this, so this is pretty cool. What I do know for a fact is that every morning, in the morning, they have a piper playing bagpipes outside the window.
Really?
So that's the alarm clock, basically. So you have a piper outside playing bagpipes in the morning. That's the alarm clock.
Could she snooze the? So she had a.
I don't think you could shut out the window and tell bagpipes to stop. Yeah. I think it would just go on for 5 or 10 minutes.
Wow. What song does the bagpiper play?
I'm actually not. I don't really know. I think it's just a Scottish, probably a lament or something, or a piece of Scottish music.
Let's be honest, they all sound the same, don't they, Grant?
That's what. I'm Scottish, and that's what I was thinking. I don't really. It all does kind of sound similar when you, especially when you've had a few whiskeys.
Well, Grant, thank you so much for helping Billy.
My pleasure.
Helping save Billy's marriage.
Well, hopefully we've saved his marriage.
This is How to Do Everything. I'm Ian.
And I'm Mike. On today's show, how to remember to change your toothbrush.
Or your toilet brush. Even some things that are not brushes. But first...
Hey, Jack, what can we do for you?
Well, I had this long ago problem that cropped up about how to tell someone that their fly is open. This came up when I was in graduate school. I happened to be in a class that was about medieval theology, and it was taught by a priest. And he came in to lecture one day, and not only was his fly open, but some of the shirt tail was hanging out of it. And I had this visceral recollection of all the students kind of looking at each other and what should we do? Should we say something? How do we bring this to his attention? And of course, we did nothing. And at the end of the lecture, the priest remarked that he had never had a class that had been so enthralled with the topic of original sin before.
So, Jack, in that class, and I imagine, how long was it, like hour long?
Yeah.
And was the lecturer, the priest, behind a lectern, or just all out in front, no coverage?
I seem to remember that there was a lectern, but he was clearly visible.
Yeah.
Well, so we're going to try and find somebody to help you. In the meantime, I think Mike and I would like to absolve you of guilt for this.
Thank you.
Telling somebody they have their zipper down, that is bad news. It's embarrassing news. We have just got somebody on the line with a great deal of experience delivering bad news.
Hello?
Hello, Maury?
Yeah.
Maury Povich, you've told maybe more people embarrassing news than anybody else in the world. Do you have any advice for Jack, what we should do when we need to tell somebody their zipper's down?
Not again.
Well, I have an alternative solution. In the most polite way, I would look at the professor and I would just stare slightly below his belt. Hoping that he would say, is there something wrong? And I would just point down there, make him look at it, and then he would be on his own. And if that did not work, I would be a little more forceful. I would say, sir, can you turn around? I'm going to go over there and just look at me, no one else. And when it comes to your open zipper, Professor, zip it.
Just very direct.
Yeah, that is direct.
Well, as you know, on my show, it's always been when it comes to the case of 6-month-old Samantha, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? You are the father, or you're not the father.
That's another case where maybe zip it would have been the best advice. Am I right, Maury?
Yeah, would have told the guy zip it before other things happen.
Are you in your personal life outside of the show? Are you good at being direct with people, telling people things maybe that would be hard to say?
Unfortunately, around most of the people who know me, that's correct.
Do you have any moments in your life when you look back, Maury, that are like Jack's, where you were facing a situation and you had one choice, you could do the right thing, and then you're like, I don't think I can do that, and then you've lived to regret it?
I'll give you one example. I used to be a sportscaster, and I used to cover the then Washington Redskins football team. And I was a sportscaster for a long time, and for a while, about for 10 years. And I went to the coach of the Washington Redskins one time, and it was in the locker room, and there's this bottle of pills. I mean, it could have been salt pills, who knows? And I said, Coach, what are these pills?
think that maybe they're uppers or downers or whatever. And the coach looked at me and said, Maury, are you with us or against us? That's when I decided to get out of the sportscasting business and go into news.
Wow.
Nobody would ever in news say things like that about whether you're with us or against us.
Oh, that's great.
Well, I'm thinking that for somebody like Jack or any of our listeners who might come upon somebody with their zipper down, it would be helpful to have Maury Povich telling them their zipper's down. Could you just record? I don't know if you want to speak directly to the person with their zipper down.
Okay. So, sir, I'm looking at you, sir. Sir, would you do me a favor and just turn away from anybody who's watching you right now? Because I want to tell you something. Sir, when it comes to your open zipper, zip it.
That was riveting.
Thank you, Maury. That's terrific.
I want to tell you something. You don't think that's happened to me? And now that I'm in my 9th decade, guess what? It happens more often.
Do you have a memory of somebody telling you that your zipper was down?
No, it's not that. Yeah, my wife has told me that on occasion. That's the only person I can remember.
Well, let me ask you this. When your wife, who is legendary journalist Connie Chung, tells you that your zipper is down, what does she say?
She says, Maury, zip it up, please.
Well, Maury Povich, thank you so much for helping us out.
I appreciate it, gentlemen. Thank you.
Hey, if you have a question for us, whatever it is, get it to us at howto@npr.org.
We look at all our emails, we read all our reviews, and they're so great. Everybody has nothing but positive things to say about us. Join the crowd at howto@npr.org.
It sounds like you're being sarcastic, but I actually haven't seen anything bad.
No, I wasn't being sarcastic. Did it sound like I was being sarcastic?
Yeah,
You did. You sounded like
there's something about the
pointedly
ghost
talking to
that makes
somebody
the
who had
font go
given us a bad
backwards
review.
sometimes.
Hina,
I'm here.
did Mike sound sarcastic to you?
I think he sounded a little sarcastic.
Whether or not Mike is being sarcastic, I feel like he was, get us your questions at howto@npr.org. And remember, we love you.
We do. That sounded sincere, right?
This message comes from Schwab. At Schwab, how you invest is your choice, not theirs. That's why when it comes to managing your wealth, it started with as little as destination focus.
Should I replace my toothbrush?
Okay.
Every 6 months or so, I go to the dentist and they give me a new toothbrush. And I was told I should replace it every 3 to 4 months, but sometimes when I'm at the store, I see that there are new kinds of toothbrushes which are available, which seem to have more advanced materials, and the bristles seem to be stronger and stiffer. And so I just got curious. One day I was brushing my teeth and thinking about your show, and it just occurred to me, it's a question I should ask.
Sure. Brent, let me ask you this question. How are your teeth? What kind of condition are your teeth in?
Oh, thank you for asking. Well, thanks to decades of my mother and father paying for dentists and orthodontists, I'm okay. Teeth-wise, I have a mild case of gingivitis, which I'm trying to get rid of.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think there's also there's a kind of secondary problem with this question, which is like, if we were to get the authority that says it's every 3.5 months, I'm maybe not necessarily going to put that in my calendar. I'm not going to have the date I'm not going to remember when I got the toothbrush. And I think about with replacing your smoke alarm, your smoke detector. Mm-hmm. There's that thing when you set your clocks forward or back for daylight savings, replace your batteries in your smoke detector. So that's you just have this reminder that is part of culture.
Yeah.
So I think it would be helpful for something like this to also have whenever this thing happens, replace your toothbrush. I wonder if we're going to be able to track down something like that too. And possibly get rid of the mild case of gingivitis.
I appreciate that. Thank you. I wish you good luck.
All right, Brent. We have a solution. We've done a little bit of research, and we have that sort of mnemonic guide, like the smoke detectors, that will help you remember when to replace your toothbrush, but also some other household items when we can replace those. And Hina, our producer, is joining us.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Hina.
So, Brent, here we go. Here's a little music. Okay, Brent, you should replace your toothbrush every 3 months. And because, you're unlikely to remember every 3 months,
Oh, did
you need
it
to
just
replace your
say?
toothbrush every time somebody named Thrawn is born in America.
Thrawn?
There are four Thrawns, that's Thron, like Ron, but with a TH in front of it.
Thron, like the word throne minus E.
Yes, or the word throne minus W.
Two things could be true.
Keep your eye on the demographic data. Every time you see someone named Thrawn born, go ahead and toss out your toothbrush and get a new one.
Okay. That's a good one. What else can we use?
Mascara. It's important to replace mascara for your eye health. And you should do that every 2 to 4 months.
What?
And according to one source, that's typically how often the average person gets sick. So every time you get sick, replace your mascara.
Can I ask you, Hina, do you wear mascara?
I'm currently sick, and I've never replaced my mascara. I think I've
That
had
might
it.
be why you're sick.
I think I've had it since I was like 15 years old.
The same one?
The same one.
No, I think, yeah.
Are you sick with pink eye by any chance?
No, I'm not.
Huh.
Okay, so I think every time you get sick, replace your mascara. And I think we need to go get Hina some new mascara.
Some mascara.
That's a good idea.
And some tape.
Okay.
Surge protectors need to be replaced every 3 to 5 years because they lose their surge protect. While they still work as an outlet, they lose their surge protection capability. So what you want to do, that's the same cadence as whenever the USDA publishes new data on llama farming.
Okay.
So keep your eye on the USDA website. Whenever you see new data on llama farming or mink farming, you're going to want to replace your surge protector.
So a surge protector is the whole thing, the whole purpose of it. It's going to save you from overloading the electrical circuit, right?
Yes.
And that just kind of on its own breaks down sometime between 3 and 5 years. If you're at 5 years, every day is a gift.
Your computer is about to explode.
Yeah. Wow. I had no idea. And I'm sure I've never done that.
A lot of people don't realize you have to replace your plastic cutting boards.
Oh, God.
This makes sense to me.
I've been...
Hina, how old is your cutting board?
Oh, since I was in college. I should use the same cutting
Scale-wise,
board.
I don't think that actually is that crazy.
That's
Let's be
like-
honest.
6 years, maybe?
That's still okay.
From the beginning of college?
All right, so you need to replace your plastic cutting board every 2 years.
Okay.
And the best mnemonic for that is there are 28 Barry Manilow fan clubs in the country.
Okay.
But every 2 years, those 28
Cool.
clubs get together and have a convention, which Barry Manilow attends.
Really?
So keep your eye on that calendar. Whenever the Barry Manilow fan club convention meets, you're going to want to throw out your cutting board and get a new one.
Do they have a name? Like Jimmy Buffett fans are called parrot heads?
Oh, that's so cool, though.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Wow. I'm glad you asked because...
Yeah.
Fanilo. They're called Fanilo.
I thought you were
That
about
could have
to
been
say
like a
they were
sub
called
1 minute,
Barracudas.
50-second
Here's a good
time,
one.
which is
a lot of people don't
just
realize, and this is serious, you have to
bonkers.
replace your sunscreen. Sunscreen goes bad and loses its effectiveness every 3 years.
Okay.
So what you want to do to remember that is subscribe to Model Railroader magazine.
That was exciting.
And every time Rod Stewart appears on the cover, you're going to want to replace your sunscreen because Rod Stewart appears on the cover of Model Railroader magazine every 3 years.
Wow.
Good for you, Rod.
That's fantastic. I mean, it's crazy to me that Rod Stewart, the guy who sang If You Think I'm Sexy, is that deep into model railroad cars.
Do you not think model railroad cars are sexy?
I don't.
All right, to each their own.
The rest of that line, if you think I'm sexy, Well, that's where you're wrong, bud.
All right, Brent. Thanks to Ian's hard work, I think we've now saved you and your mouth from any future catastrophes related to your old toothbrush.
Or surge protector.
Well, that does it for this week's show. What'd you learn, Ian?
Well, I learned that whatever bed a king is sleeping in, by definition, becomes a king-size bed. So even if it's a tiny cot, maybe for some reason he's sleeping in a twin bunk bed,
yeah,
that it's like Air Force One, you know, whatever plane the president is on, even if it's not the official Air Force One, if the president of the United States is on a plane, you have to call that Air Force One.
It becomes Air Force One. Wow. Let me ask you this question. What if there was a king who was a twin, who had a brother? Does that bed that he's sleeping in become a twin bed?
If the king sleeps on the floor, does then the entire world become a king-size bed? And then are we, as the human race, all in bed together?
Well, I learned that the queen doesn't have an alarm clock, but instead she has a bagpiper outside her window. Do you think if you had the option for an alarm clock that was a musician playing outside, what would you choose? Queen has a bagpiper, what would you have?
I think it would be very interesting to wake up to have a harpist out there, somebody with a harp.
Yeah.
Because they would make the sound that we typically associate with beginning a dream to wake me up. So I would lose my grip on reality because I would never know what was a dream and what was real.
Yeah.
And I would slowly become disconnected to the rest of humanity, losing my mind.
How to Do Everything is produced by Hina Srivastava, technical direction from Lorna White.
Our intern is Kelly Cook.
Keep smelling, Kelly.
Get us your questions at howto@npr.org. I'm Ian.
And I'm Mike. Thanks.
This message and sleep at night.
Hey, before we begin this week's show, we should tell you this is another archive episode, an episode that was recorded who knows when, but a long time ago.
NPR killed it, but we are bringing it back to life for you.
Halloween is next week, and that means the pumpkin-shaped Reese's Cup is now in stores.
So we want to know, does the pumpkin shape Reese's Cup give you a larger peanut butter to chocolate ratio and therefore a superior peanut butter cup?
Joining us now is Sam. He's a 14-year-old math student.
So Sam, before we get into this, am I to understand that you are skipping class to have this conversation?
Well, actually, right now this is my lunch period. I was doing some research during gym class.
Okay.
Wait, did you already skip gym?
Yes.
All right, well, let's start here. Do I get a better peanut butter to chocolate ratio with the pumpkin-shaped Reese Cup?
Well, I was wondering the same question. So I actually went to the store and I bought 6 different types of Reese's just for a variety. And out of like the regular circular cup sizes, I got the king size, the regular size, the miniature size, and the mini size. And then out of the pumpkin size, I got the king size and the regular pumpkin.
All right.
So for the first 4 that were in the cup shape, those are really in the shape of a frustum. In case you don't know, like a frustum is when you take a cone and then you slice off the top part, like the pointy part.
Yeah.
How you have like a circle on top and then a circle on bottom, but like the circle on the bottom is bigger.
That's a frustum?
Yes.
All right.
Here, actually,
and that would be the...
I'm gonna pause it. Because we're only 1 minute into that episode, so probably gonna stream for a little bit later because I'm house sitting in like the middle of the forest, so not only do I not know anybody around here, everyone who lives around here is like 70 or 80 something, so I don't have a whole lot to do. since this is number 20, I'm gonna take a little break and make some dinner and just do that general living kind of stuff for a bit. Oh. I don't know. No dice. I'll have to come back to it. Thank you for wishing that comfy night house sit. My feet are cold. I gotta sort a couple things out here. Really excited that I got the save file to save in the tent though. That that's really cool. It means if I get a good fast glitch, I can get a time below 3 minutes 50 seconds. 3 minutes 40 something. That's neat. That's really exciting. Uh-oh. I don't want it to delete my game. I'm really scared of that, so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and shut it down. It's too good. I'm so close to having a really amazing time. So that's it. I'm gonna cut the stream here. Thanks for hopping in and hanging out, and maybe I'll see you later. Have a good night.